Good afternoon, everybody. This is a Wednesday discussion session. Normally, we meet on the first and second Wednesdays of every month, but we are going to take next Wednesday off due to the proximity to the 4th of July holiday that we all want to celebrate as much as possible, given the COVID-19 situation. Today, we're going to get two presentations, overview, education type of thing. We're going to start with Stephanie Heffer, who is going to give us an overview from our GIS system and show us various common property areas. That means property that you, the property owner of Hot Springs Village, POA, have a piece of. Some of this is land that could be developed into something. Some of it is land that is like next door to me, that is a giant ravine that nothing could ever go in except for the deer and the wildlife, and they are there, and we're happy to have them there. And then also with some of the reserve property, and just let us see what it is that we own and what we have within the 26,000 acres that isn't currently platted for residential property. With that, Stephanie, go.
Okay. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is our GIS system. And within that, everything that you see colored in the bright blue is common property. I'm going to turn that layer off in just a moment so that we can zero in on specific parcels. I've given everyone a little handout of information. We're gonna look at 16 parcels of common property today, as well as 5 parcels of reserved, and I'll go in order of what you have there, and the handouts behind it are in order of what you see on the front page. And we'll start kind of west to east, and please feel free to stop me anytime and ask questions. It's easier while we're at that site than saving it for later and be kind of navigating back to that location. So one of the beauties of what Mr. Cooper did back in 1970 was preserved so much natural space throughout the community. You can see that here, and if you zoom in just a bit, you can see how really intricately woven common property is throughout every single street within the community. So what I've tried to do is pull out some of the larger parcels to give you an idea of where we have opportunities for future amenity utilization, that sort of thing. Okay. So let me turn on that one later.
Could you talk a little louder?
Going to talk louder?
Yeah.
Do you want a microphone?
I can
I don't
help.
know if does that work inside?
It should.
So you can hear?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, so. So I've got that one layer turned off, and we're going to zoom into the first site that I have on the list. This is going to be hard for me to do. I don't know how to do it.
I just want to say for the people that are watching, this presentation in the recording section the session that gets dropped later on, that's got closed captioning, etc., you're going to be able to see all of this presentation that Stephanie is giving us today. We just don't have a technological way to bring it to you live. So, you know, if you want to go do something else, it's a beautiful day out there, and you want to catch the recording later on this evening, go for it.
Okay, and I'm not using a mouse, I'm using a touchpad, so bear with me, it's a little bit touchy, but, so the first slide that we're gonna look at, just, and it, again, is the first page behind your legend there, is the DeSoto Club, the pool, the miniature golf site. And so you can see kind of basically from this roadway over here at Clubhouse Drive, all the way over here to Sonora is a pretty significant piece of common property that you have options with in the future. And I think I noted that that's about 12 acres right there. I know Recreation Department has looked at all kinds of different things in, you know, pavilions, things between the pool and the clubhouse, etc. I'm going to move to.
I just want to point out that between that pool and the pickleball courts, that area there, I can't tell from looking at this what we're talking acreage wise there, but that's a creek and a little bridge and things like that. So that's not really something that we could turn into an additional amenity. It's a park-like setting. And then the only other area that you would have would be if you'd want to repurpose, this is my opinion only, if you wanted to repurpose the miniature golf into something else, you've got some land there that you could do. But otherwise, in my opinion, this is pretty much a fully developed amenity area.
Probably other than like park sites, like you said.
Right.
The next spot we're gonna look at is the old bocce courts at the Coronado Center. So if you can see here, this is the Coronado Center complex. Got the tennis courts, this is the, you can see the mouse, this is the fitness center, Coronado Center, et cetera. So right through here, this is the old bocce courts. And so the land I've identified is basically, and this is our outdoor recreation facility maintenance building. It's just a small metal building, but basically all of this land in here, there's some topography in most all of the things that I'm gonna show you because it is Hot Springs Village. We have lots of undulation in the land, but, so that is the old bocce courts. Another area that's close.
Have you got that, is that identified in with the blue line on our sheet that we're
It
looking
is.
at? Thank you.
Yep, each one of those. And so you'll see at the bottom, I numbered number one at the bottom, for example, correlates to number one on your legend, the first page that you had on the spreadsheet. Number two, the second page will have number two on the legend. Okay? Okay. So we're gonna look at the Coronado Boat Ramp area, an area that, for the people that live near there, it's pretty familiar too, but for everybody else, not so much. So this is the boat ramp site at Coronado. And so you can see the property lines, right here. You see my mouse moving around? So it's really this whole site right here. There's a little trail that runs through there, but that's another site of some size that we have in common that's undeveloped.
Where's the heliopad from here?
Across the lake.
Okay.
On number two.
Two.
Yeah, it is. Down here by the, sorry, mouse, right here, down at the bottom,
Oh, okay.
yeah. The next site is the corner of Fresno and DeSoto, and that's right at the POA, basically right next to the POA building, in the pipe yard, if that helps.
Is that common property or is that reserved property?
Common,
Common meaning
meaning it
just
was
like
deeded-
every other common property in the village.
So this is.
This is just a larger parcel that you're referring to as common property area that we could possibly do something.
You know, and the areas that I'm showing you have either, you know, some road frontage, they're easy to get to, navigate to. I mean, you know, lots of them are little tiny pieces like I showed you in the beginning with the sort of how it weaves in and out of the community. But, so this piece right here, you'll see, this is the Good Sam. Right here, this is the Good Sam campus. They own all of this to the right. This is the Good Sam property, but this right here is a piece of common that goes up here and touches that end of Lake Cortez. And right here is the pipe yard, and this is the POA building, to give you context of where we're at.
What would it take, what is the method of getting approval to build on a common property of this nature? Because we're not allowed to build on common property. So
We are allowed to build on common property.
It specifically says that we're not, so I'm confused.
Where?
In the covenants and restrictions, I'm pretty sure, in the declaration.
Not that I know of. I mean, all of our
What is that?
buildings are on common property. This building is sitting on common property.
No, I'm talking about common property that's designated as common property. That was built and given as common property, but the properties that were put out in the village as common properties to not be built on are not supposed to be built on, I thought. So maybe I'm wrong.
Well, Tucker, you know, it's something we should check into because that's not my
Yeah.
understanding. And yeah, my understanding is that if it's common properties, therefore it was dedicated to the enjoyment and use for all property owners, that as long as whatever is built is available to all property owners, then it can be used. Otherwise, you can't you can't dedicate it for a specific reason that would not be available to every
Well,
property
sure,
owner, that's
I
one thing.
understand that.
But as long as you're building something that's for all property owners and the investment comes from the POA, it can, my understanding is that can be
So,
constructed.
so if it's amenity related, we can do it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. but
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
I believe you need to get a vote of the membership.
I think it takes 2/3 of vote, and then when you get into a subdivision, I think it takes 100% of vote in the subdivision that connects to it, so it's.
My
I
understanding
think
is
it's
that it
important we know
takes
that.
2/3 of the vote if you're selling it. We need to, we should have,
I
we
think
should
you
have a
need to
legal
read it.
opinion on
I
that.
think it
Yeah.
specifically says you can't.
So,
can't
so
build
what
on
do
top
we,
property.
what do we need to do? Do we need to have Rose Law Firm look at our declarations and our articles of I mean, it would just be the declarations, it
I
wouldn't be
think we just
affected
need
by any
somebody,
other
I think we
document.
just need somebody to read it.
Yeah.
We just need somebody to read it?
Yeah, it
I
specifically
have as
says.
well, yeah.
I've read it, I can't answer the question.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've read it, I
Well,
can't
no,
answer
I
the
mean-
You didn't
question.
memorize it?
No.
I've
Come
never memorized
on.
it.
I
Well,
can,
I know in the,
I
I know
may
in
be
the
wrong,
past.
I just think I've
I
read
don't
that,
think
that you
you're not
can't do
wrong.
that. Huh?
I don't think you're
I
wrong.
don't think I am, but I may be.
Well, we need clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we need to
I would
find
be
that out.
surprised if I'm wrong, because that means we can build on anything behind my house if we consider it amenity for everybody else, because it's common property. I don't think that it was set up that way, but I may be wrong. Because that's what we're saying we could do. So,
I mean, my understanding is different, but like I
yeah,
said,
I don't know.
the interpretation I got was from a different law firm, so we'd have to get somebody else's.
Do you,
So, so what I'm hearing is we need to get an interpretation from our legal counsel.
Well, no, I don't necessarily think that. We need to read and see what it says. If it says that we're not supposed to, then we might want to seek legal advice, but if it doesn't say we're not supposed to, then
I've
maybe we
not
don't
seen
need.
anything where the language speaks to two different types of common property, other than limited common property and common property.
that's townhouse.
And limited common property is the
That's
townhouse
townhouse,
area.
yeah.
So
I
all
don't know.
other common property on the maps, on the plats, on the legals, it's all the same.
That's the only
Common
question I've
property is
always
common
had
property.
about it, because I understood that we couldn't build on it, and yet people brought up to me that, well, we
Correct.
did build on it. Well, I think everything we built on it, like our common property being a golf course, we didn't build on that. Cooper did, and they deeded it to us as common property and the facility.
Well, I can think of
I don't-
I can think of two instances that we built on common property. One would be the dog park, and the other one would be the Isabel Clubhouse.
It was common property, it was Cooper property.
It was Cooper property, and it was deeded to us as common property.
But
Because
it was
all the
deeded for the
lots,
clubhouse.
all the lots down number 18 were Cooper property. Those were lots. But they never were supposed to be lots, and we actually traded for that. It was all designated as common property. Now, let me read this, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay. In the meantime, we know we
Just keep-
have a piece of
keep
ground
looking
over
at it. I
there
mean,
that.
Like you said, regardless of whether it's a vote or it's whatever, that at least you'll know what
At least we know where we're.
what land is out there.
Right.
Okay, so that's the corner of Fresno and DeSoto. The other area that I think is kind of interesting, especially given the recent sale of the Cortez Beach, is right here, so this is the Cortez Beach Island that just recently sold. This peninsula here is common.
Wow.
Mhm.
So that's an interesting alternative site to a beach. You wouldn't have to
You
actually
think?
construct anything.
You
ever.
think? You think?
You could just add sand. But there's a small access point, really, you can see it's pretty slim, but there's an access point where the road touches that lot, so you could have just a small road in and actually. That's interesting.
Where did the property start? Down at the island, or did it start at the?
No,
gate?
it starts at the gate.
It starts up there at that black line that
Right
goes
here,
across
this
the
line
road,
right there.
basically.
That's the property.
Just past lot 04601126 at the end of that
Slightly.
lot where that blue point comes out, and then there's a black line going horizontally. That's about where the gate is.
Right.
And that's about where then the private property begins.
Wish we'd have built the beach there to start with.
Okay, and so, the next one I want to show you is just the Balboa Club, primarily because there's quite a bit of land around the Balboa Club that's not developed yet. Tucker, I wonder if that would make a difference in the interpretation, since, part of it's already developed and part of it is not. You know?
I would have to think so. I think the reasoning behind that was so we didn't go out and grab pieces behind people's houses and all that and start building on it. They were designated by Cooper for the clubhouse or for this or for that, so people couldn't, well, would be less likely to complain.
So we're on, number 6 here. This is, if you can see this parcel in the blue right there. So here's the Balboa Clubhouse. Here's the cart barn right up here. So what you can see is there's a pretty significant piece of land beyond the trailer parking there that's yet to be
Okay.
developed along that road. And along that, is that number 1?
Yes,
Number 1.
if I remember correctly.
It's changed a couple times.
It's been so long
I
since I
think.
played, I don't know.
Well, if my memory serves me correct, back in the day, this was kind of going to be the second country club. We were gonna have the DeSoto Club area as the first country club, and then the Balboa area would be the second country club. And Cooper originally had some plans there to put some tennis courts and a swimming pool at that location, which is why the extra acreage is there. And that's pretty flat in through there. I just played Balboa last week, so, you know, kind of walked around those woods a little bit just to kind of see, and that's pretty flat in through there. So that has a lot of potential
It does.
there. What are we talking about? We got 6 acres. You can do some stuff on 6 acres, and that's very centrally located.
Right. I know it was discussed quite a bit during the pool
Right.
conversation. We were talking about other locations for the DeSoto pool. That was one of the popular ones. Okay, we're gonna go to the Woodlands area.
More land there than I thought.
So, well, this is the Woodlands Auditorium. This is the Grove Park area. So, this piece of property right here, this is Danville Road, this is Church, Woodlands, everybody with me where we're at?
Right
Yeah.
there,
It's right out this window.
right out that door.
That's correct. Yeah, sorry. Good point, yeah, right there. Also a nice piece of property. That was a trade with Cooper at one point. And then the other is this Grove Park site. And I'm gonna zoom in there so you can just see how little amount of land we're actually using within the park today. You can see the pavilion right here, this tiny little, I mean, all of this is common property, but we're only using, there's an example of something we built on common right there.
Yeah,
And
it was.
Waypoint,
Is
and
it?
the DeSoto Marina.
Is it?
Those would be 3 more examples.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying what I read, what I think I read.
So anyway, that's showing you the potential of this site, how much more area there is to continue to put park equipment or whatever. But that's the Grove Park site right there. Number 8 in your packet. Another interesting site that not too many people know, but I know Tucker does, history-wise, for sure, you probably can shed some light. But this site, this right here, large cleared out area, and it's just behind, it's just right over there, we're looking at it, is the old Cooper landfill site.
Oh, I know what it's, yeah.
Yep.
My house is right over there to the right.
Right, yeah, just right back here off at Equestrian in Phoenix. So we've done soil testing and things on that site that it's good. I don't know that you'd wanna put structures on it, but certainly you could do outdoor activities and things like that. It's a big, large, fairly flat piece of land. The stargazers, right, you can see this white kind of blob right here. The stargazers meet out there now and hold their club meetings because it's in this really dark spot.
Nice place for an archery range.
Yep, and that's been discussed as well. Okay. Just to the east of that is the gravel pit. So that's this kind of back behind where Tucker and your storages buildings are. And you can see how large, and I did not, so the acreage that I put on your spreadsheet is not this entire, you can see the boundaries here of how much common property is back in through here. It's very steep, so it's very, very steep. But just this area in and around is what I've given you measurements for. It's just in and around the gravel pit area there.
Is that where they used to mulch?
Yep, it sure is.
That's where the burn pit is too.
It is, yeah.
And by the way, we're gonna get ready, we're gonna have a little bit of brush being burnt sometime in July, but everybody will get notification on that, so, we'll be doing e-blasts, so people will know when they see a little bit of smoke that it's okay, it's our people doing some burns, but, we have to do that from time to time, that's just, you know, there's a lot of debris in our forest, and cleaning it up, you gotta get rid of it somehow.
Okay, so, so this next site is, it's really just frontage on DeSoto, so it's, just wanted you to see that it's there.
1.7. I think that was designed as a buffer for noise
Yeah, that's
abatement for those
that's a
homes.
problem.
It's just
wait-
right here. It's
yeah,
this-
It's not a very wide stretch there,
Problem
and
waiting to happen if we do anything with that.
I think that's a noise abatement.
Yeah, there's this chunk, you can see it, it's kind of just right there on that corner. It could be noise. It's interesting though, they didn't do it on the other corner. It's developed right up to the edge. You can see how the lots come right up from east on one side and then on the other
Yeah.
side it's not. We'd have to do some looking on
There might be some topography issues in
topography,
there.
exactly. And then the other side right behind it is just right here, just a little ways, and it's the same kind of thing. And likely it's got some steepness to it. We'll go to, the site over off of Ponce de Leon Drive. Okay, so, again, to give you a sense of where this is where the Remax building is, if you can see the mouse moving up here on the screen. Remax are at the corner of DeSoto and Ponce. So coming down this road, here's the Balboa Baptist Church and the fire department. Everybody with me? So, this is the Arista Courts neighborhood, you can see. So this large piece right here, you can see our trail running through the middle of that. This large piece right here is a large piece of common property also. It's primarily floodplain because it's just beyond the spillway. That is the location that the Lions Club Garden project was earmarked for before it craters. That's good for that. So that's this piece right here.
There's actual lake frontage there?
It does.
There's you know the concrete barrier that goes across at the beach,
Yeah.
the concrete, it goes across there too. That's just
Yeah.
an alternate spillway,
That's right.
is what it is.
Okay.
It's actually an alternate.
Oh, okay, yeah, when you walk across when you
Walk
go
across
walk
the
that
dam.
trail, you can see that land down there, right?
Yeah. In fact, your trail is going right through it. I mean, you can see
Mhm.
the trail, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then it just heads off, yeah. I'm gonna come back to that.
What do we-
Can we mention on this one,
15
Stephanie,
15 acres.
if you see below Arista Courts and you see the kind of triangle, it's a square, but there's a line through it, those are those two pieces of
Yeah,
CCI
they're
property.
They're on here,
reserved.
down here is 1 and 2, and
Yeah.
the third property is.
That's right there, that you guys were talking about in your email.
That's over here,
I've
That's
got
right-
it, it's
right below
numbered.
Arista
right
Courts,
below
yeah.
there, right.
I just wanted to point that out.
Right, okay.
It's reserved, so I've got those in your packet in just 1 second. I was just gonna kind of.
I just saw emails about it.
Yeah.
It was or
So the
while you
other,
were there.
The Balboa Spillway and Beach area, which is right here, that is, this is a little piece of Cooper Reserve right here, but all of this
That's
is
what
common,
I'm
so
doing
that's the
today.
spillway
That little
and
piece
the
there.
creek that runs through.
That's what I was asking about.
So that's the small piece of reserve that we were talking about, John.
That's actually the tertiary spillway, and when we had the flood back a few years ago, that was all underwater, the parking lot, and it all came through there.
Yeah, I think that's considered floodplain land over there, isn't it, John?
Yeah, it is. That-
Oh, yeah, all
We
that.
witnessed it.
All of it's floodplain.
While we're actually right here, we can go ahead and just look at that, what Marcy was referring to. So that is,
1 and 2.
number, the reserve property 1 and 2 that you see there. So those are actually 2 separate pieces of property. This is one.
Yeah.
This is the Cooper property right here.
Oh, okay.
And this is the second piece right here.
They have it listed as one parcel.
They're selling in one parcel?
That's
You
what
can
that
see the
gentleman.
power line runs right through there. Here's our trail.
They just bought it?
No, that's what that gentleman emailed us about, like,
Oh, that if
afraid
it
they're
got
gonna lose
bought,
the
it was
beach.
gonna lose,
Yeah.
we would lose a beach from there.
but it doesn't go all the way to the.
It's not even close to the beach.
No, the other one's up here, the one we were just looking at.
Right.
That piece is the one that people were concerned about. That's just a little piece there
That little bitty piece
on the
back
other
here.
side of the spillway.
Yeah, it's on the,
Yeah.
that little piece is on the beach side of the spillway, right? No.
It's
Which
on the
piece are you-
marina side of the spillway.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's the one that they were referring to in the email the other day, but that's the piece that Cooper's selling, not the rest of it that she's showing us right here. We already own that. It's that area that's not the beach.
Are we looking at this?
Tucker,
little-
if you're looking at the screen up here, is it this
That
small
little piece right in
Yeah.
there, what's
This is-
that?
That's
That-
Cooper Reserve.
That's Cooper's
That's
Reserve,
Cooper.
and it's for sale.
Yeah.
And
the
that's
one
for
I
sale
referred to
too?
the other day.
It is.
That's for sale, but that's not the beach. That's what the
But that's-
gentleman, I think, was asking in the emails, if that was the beach land, and it's not. It's that little piece there. You guys had said it might be this down here. I said, no, it's up here. It's what they're referring to. It's a
And that
different
is in
piece.
the floodplain.
Yeah,
It's back behind the beach is what you're saying.
Yeah, to the right. Let's kind of go in there by the pavilion. It's right there.
yeah, but if you're blowing, if I'm thinking about, there's the beach parking there. That's that land back behind the beach parking,
Yeah.
right?
It is. You can see
Yeah.
the parking lot right here. See the parking lot? This is the
Yeah.
Cooper Reserve.
It's just a
right
little
here.
piece of land there
This is
that's
the
on
pavilion.
that hillside right there. It's not,
Is he got that package separate from these 1 and 2s that we're
Yes.
talking about here?
yes, it's different property for sale.
Different parcel.
Anything else you want to see right there?
Where am I at? Where is this?
We're gonna skip back up to the number 15 parcel. And that is, you're going towards the east gate. If you're familiar with the is it Mountainside Methodist Church? This is Mountainside Methodist Church right here. Here's the east gate, right here. This little red dot is the east gate.
Yeah,
So, this parcel right here across the street, this triangle on the corner of El Cano and DeSoto, that is a parcel of common property right there.
common property, yeah.
Just about 5 acres, right there on the corner.
Hmm.
Welcoming center.
What, Kurt?
I say there's a great place for a welcoming center.
It's definitely right inside the gate.
Good. That's the problem,
So
it's
the other
inside the
place
gate.
I wanted to show you, for any of you who are not particularly familiar with the Nature Conservancy property, because part of that is Nature Conservancy that Cooper dedicated to the reserve, and part of it is common. So, if you zoom in, you'll be able to see the property line. So this kind of half moon thing here that goes around, that's all Nature Conservancy. It belongs to the Conservancy. And all this stuff on the inside of it, here's our road that goes down into the pump, down to the river. All of this property inside here, over here, down here, around here, that's all common property. You're just looking up there. And yes, that is one giant 15-acre lot right there, from the point, on the top of that hill.
Oh, I know it well.
Yeah, great big piece.
A lot of elevation.
That's some rough terrain there.
When you're standing at the Granada, in the restaurant, looking up, and you see the houses up on the hill, that's that hill.
Mhm.
You're seeing those houses up on that ridge right there.
Lots for sale.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna jump down to, I just showed you the 2 Cooper parcels.
Yeah.
Go to 3? Reserve 3 or?
Yeah, we'll go to Reserve 3, so that is,
It's over by Balboa Golf Course too.
that is this, so this is, right here is the, the other Methodist church?
Yeah, that's a,
Sacred Heart, not Sacred Heart.
This is
no,
this is at the
that's,
four-way
that's Christ
stop.
of the Hills.
Christ of the Hills, thank you.
This is at the four-way stop.
That's right,
It's at the 4-way stop.
right. So yeah, the crest of the hills here, it's Caddy Corner, this piece right there, it's a Cooper Reserve piece as well on the corner. And then as we go on up the road
Oh, it's
and,
only 10. That's, our police like to use that so that they can, you know, make sure that we stop it before we stop.
so
That
this,
four-way stop is, I think has saved us from a lot of accidents. I think,
I like it.
I think it really has. I think that corner was, it's a lot of blindness there, hard to see, and that's a well-marked four-way stop. I think that's been beneficial to us.
and the last two that I'm gonna show you are right across from one another, and these are Cooper Reserve properties as well. And this is, this is the entrance into Balboa, right off Blair, to the Balboa Clubhouse. So where the sign is sitting is right here on the Balboa Clubhouse sign is right here on the corner. So all of this land, the Danville Gate is right here, that helps you. This is the Danville Gate, Balboa Golf Course Maintenance, et cetera. So right here is, these are two Cooper Reserve pieces as well.
Yeah, that's underwater a lot.
You're right, it's kind of on,
That's the overflow coming from, yeah, that feeds into that little pond over there on Coronado, and, yeah, that's very, very, very wet.
and I don't know if they have those for sale right now or not, Tucker, I'm not real sure.
This is Cooper's property?
Uh-huh.
I don't either. I haven't really looked at all that.
But
Okay.
really, so I sort of, yes.
So for 15 years, I've said that the best opportunity to build a condo in the village is that piece of property on the old 18 in Isabella on the left side between the T and the clubhouse. What has to happen for that to be developed?
You would have to have a vote of the membership in order to sell common property, which is platted common property. The way that happened was, that was all Cooper's, they had platted those for lots. And it was the first week that I got here, in 1997, when that was all started. And the clubhouse was gonna be where the cart barn is. And we were walking it, and that was not the original idea. So they went back to John Cooper Jr. at the time and said, the clubhouse is supposed to be up here, what can we do? And he agreed that that was all platted after the fact. And we wound up trading. He was gonna pay for the tunnel that went under Isabella, under the road there. We wound up building the tunnel and in exchange for getting all that land and putting the Isabella Clubhouse back where it was. And that was common property at the time, which, as I was telling you, we built on that on common property. But we thought about, in the future, just reserving all that land for another DeSoto Club. You have to remember, this was 1999, and they were thinking outside the box and thinking of other things. They could do another swimming pool down there, and that's the reason that we were talking about building on common property. It was never thought about for selling it to developers, although that would be, like you said, some of the best land you could have as far as real estate goes, but it would take a vote of the membership, an entire vote of the membership, of which you'd have to get a 2/3 quorum and then 51% to sell it. And that would be almost impossible, because a 2/3 quorum on something like that, you wouldn't get the votes back. And you can't lease it either. You can't lease it or because I asked Don Schnipper that question before, I thought we could get around it that way. You can't. So,
Because we've had people interested in developing it on their 99-year lease. They were willing to not go through the, the whole sell scenario, but yeah, he's right, we can't dedicate the
can't.
land.
or those. that-
POA can buy it, and somebody can lease it from us for 99 years, but we would have to make the initial investment.
PLA can buy it.
Not
We
buy
would
it,
have to
POA
make
would
the
have to,
initial investment.
we would have to build the house.
We would have to build on it and let them,
Lodging, and somebody else
according to what
lease
we
them from
think we
us
had.
for 99.
And we can never do that.
Right,
Oh, no.
yeah, so there's no clear path to getting it done. But this is the site on the screen that you're talking about right here. This is the clubhouse, the 3 little pods, and he's talking about this land all the way down and around that. And that's the car parking there, if you'll notice.
And all we wanted at the time was the clubhouse site. And he said, no, it's all or nothing. You take it all, or and you build the tunnel. And that's the way it happened.
You got a lake view, a mountain view,
Oh.
a golf view.
Well, those trees have grown up, but
Yeah,
that
the
view
view.
from the Isabella Clubhouse, and originally, you're seeing the mountains back there. Now the trees are blocking it. And that's all private property, so we can't cut them without permission.
And people that are coming on a golf package, they can hit Granada, they can hit Lisbon, they can potentially get to, you know, it's right there in Mecca, Paz, yeah. So as I said, that's sort of a sampling of some of the pieces that have a little more acreage together. Most everything else is very much little ribbons of common property kind of running through everywhere. We can get a clarification if you want us to do that, or if you want to do that, how do you want that to happen?
Oh, I think we're, on the ribbons and the other little things running through, I mean, we understand the need for those and why they need to stay that way, and I don't believe that this board has any interest in putting that into the long-range planning process. I mean, this is what we're looking at this. We're looking at this from a long-term perspective. We're not looking at anything that we're gonna do this year, next year, you know, but
Well,
we
we're-
need to know what we have and what we've got and what we need to protect, and I think that, from my perspective, I see, you know, we had a wonderful handshake agreement for years and years and years. I'm getting a lot of people are saying, oh, how could you possibly have let the Cortez Peninsula go, which they refer to as the Cortez Beach. It's my understanding that in past years, over periods of time, there were overtures made between the POA and between Cooper, and Cooper was always, no, we want to keep that land. You know, you guys are welcome to use it till we decide what we ever want to do, but we're not interested in selling it at this time, and, you know, go forth and be happy. And we had the handshake agreement, we carried the insurance on it, and we enjoyed it for many, many years. And now it's going to make a wonderful home site for a family who, interestingly enough, were original investors here. The gentleman's father purchased 2 lots in 1970 from Cooper Communities. So he's coming full circle and coming back and gonna build their dream home and their dream retreat place, and gonna preserve the natural look of that as much as possible. And we've got another nice piece of property there. And one of the things that I had experienced when I was on the Lakes Committee, and I'm sure that Dick hears about it now being on the Lakes Committee, is one of the things that's pretty lacking for our community is access to fishing if you don't live on a lake. To be able to go to piers. We do have a little pier at DeSoto. We've got a small little pier at Coronado. We do not offer anything like that at Cortez. That property, if you go back into that lot that we own there, that property would make a great, it can be a little, I mean, it looks like when you're looking at an aerial, yeah, but it's very grassy around there. If you used to go to the Cortez Beach, and I did quite frequently, and I went oftentimes in the morning when I was there alone, and I'd be floating on my raft, and I'd see the snakes coming out of that grassy area. And, I mean, it's a snaky area, it's a lot of turtles in there, and it isn't ideal for a beach on that piece that we own. But it is ideal for a fishing pier with a boardwalk going out to the fishing pier because of there again, the topography, and a kayak launch site. And, you know, something like that, I think that would be what I would be looking at for this board to see. And I've spoken with the family that purchased it, and they recognize that our gate is awfully tight and close to give us access. And I think that they'll work with us and help us with that gate situation a little bit, because they want to put an electronic gate, which I would want to do that too if I was going to have that beautiful piece for my home to be on. And then, you know, as far as another beach area, in 4 to 5 years, 24, 25, if memory serves me correct from my conversations with Brad, will be when Coronado comes up for dredging again. And the Coronado Lake is an interesting lake because it was built as a bowl. And I don't know if you have anything on the Coronado Lake that you can show us the Coronado Lake,
Well, just the boat launch area.
that
I
boat
showed
launch
you.
area.
Yeah.
But the lake itself is kind of built in a bowl. It doesn't have as many coves and that sort of thing with that lake. And at the boat launch, you've got the marina area, but the boat launch area where the boat dock is,
Right here.
right in there, that water there is extraordinarily shallow. But we have that property there. That's our property. And Brad and I were speaking about the possibility of when we do the dredging, of course, we gotta get Corps of Engineer approval, and there's some loops to jump through, but what a beautiful beach area that would be.
Would be.
So, we're always looking down the road as well as looking at the short term and thinking of those things. And, this GIS system is great because I've been able to see this in various offices. Jason was showing me some things this morning. I stopped by his office and whenever I used to visit with Brad would be able to, this is great technology that we have here. And I appreciate you taking the time today to come out and show us what we've got. You guys laughing at me over there?
No, of course not.
Anyway.
Can I tell you one additional property that's a very similar situation to the Cortez Beach, and that is the Menorca Trail. Right here, we're right there at it. So all of this, all of this land through here, all of this right through here, is the Menorca Trail area. And this is Danville Road again, and then you go into, here's the Church of Christ, this is Balboa Lake. Give you a sense of how,
Wow.
from the crow flies, it all kind of ties right together. And we had looked at, when I was rec director, even extending this trail on up. You could extend the trail on up, run it right up the edge of Balboa Road and hit Hernando Trail up by Woodlands, which is right there.
Really?
But this also is Cooper Reserve property with a handshake deal. This is also an agreement that was made with Cooper many years ago. And they certainly have the right to sell that at some point if they want to, and have looked at it in the past, so.
Yeah, but
We
look
love it
where
and it's
is.
beloved.
It's
but
right below the dam.
it is.
If the dam failed, that.
It is.
Yeah,
And it's a
you
beautiful
wouldn't want to
area,
do
of
much of
course.
anything other than trail.
But it's,
on there.
and of course, our trail system, I'm so sorry.
Where,
runs
can
all
we see
through
that?
it.
Do we have a trail in there now?
Oh, yeah, you can see it. Do you see the little lines running all through here? That's our trail system.
Cool.
The Menorca Trail, right across from Beehive. You with me?
Yeah.
Snaky.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Cedar Creek.
Cedar
Oh,
Creek.
that, yeah. That,
This is,
and then we've got the 2 parking lot areas for
Yeah,
that?
This is the Beehive, this is the cemetery right up here, Cedarville. And then Cedarville. Yeah. But anyways, an interesting little piece of information.
What's
Like I said,
what's the other name for that area? Cedar
Cedar Creek.
Trails.
And this is
That's where I
Cedar-
was confused,
This
yeah.
is Cedar Creek right here, running right
That's
into
the
Lake
Cedar Creek
Balboa.
running through there.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, that is probably, I want to say that may be our most heavily used trail system down
Agree.
there.
Yeah, probably is.
And we've improved the parking, the upper parking area there has been improved in the last several years. There's lots of parking up there. It was kind of cute this Sunday coming home from church. There was a family there, and you could tell they were doing Father's Day pictures with the grandpa and about the 3 or 4-year-old, and they were getting ready to go walk the dog on the trail.
This is the other parking area right here. And so the
Okay.
trail runs right down
Right.
here and connects into
Right.
this whole big section.
Yeah. And that's just a handshake agreement on that one.
It is. We do not own that. We do not own that land.
Do we want it?
I would hate to see Menorca Trail go. I think, like you said, it's one of the most heavily used, and people love it the most, real honestly. It's
not for-
loopy. It's
Cooper
the-
doesn't have it listed, do they?
No.
It's not listed. And like John said, it's very much in a floodplain. There's
Huge
a
floodplain.
creek runs right through it. But there's some high spots. So like up here on this corner, there's some area that you could, maybe build on and have a view of a creek or something like that. But they don't have it listed right now.
We'll ask about it.
It's amazing that it's that close between those 2 lakes.
Yeah, isn't it?
Coronado feeds Balboa, so when the lake's down, that's where the water comes from to Balboa for the recharge.
Okay. Where's the Beaver Dam Trail?
It is, sorry, I just put
That's
the-
down over in there, right?
No,
Down.
it is.
Yeah.
There. No.
And see, that is, that's used heavily by our Animal Welfare League. And taking the dogs that are in our care for their walks every day. They take them on and that is a really nice trail now. Been cleaned up a lot in the last 10, 15 years.
So the red line is our property boundaries. You can see how it kind of jumps in and out down here. This is Mount Carmel. This is the Balboa Gate right here. And this is that big storage area. And right here is the, I'm sorry. Yeah, right here. This is the sewer plant area.
Yeah.
And the trail that runs down into.
And that's the-
It backs up on a Magellan
Right
Golf
here.
Course,
This
though,
is the Beaver Dam Trail down in here along
And
this-
that used to be used a lot by, a lot of bird watchers and things. In fact, back at one time, they put up I don't know, like the bird blinds type of thing so that they could,
You're right.
you know,
yeah.
be behind them and somebody has gone in there and labeled up several of the trees so you can do some tree identification. That's a neat thing to
I
do.
think it
We
was
have
on
that down
Audubon
on the
Group.
Cedar Creek Trail too.
Mhm.
That's the other parcel that Cooper just sold right there.
Which one?
Across from Mount
Oh,
Carmel.
yeah, they sure did.
Across from Mount Carmel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that box that said Cooper Homes. Keep going, man. That right there.
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, right. You're talking about right here.
Well, I think it's exciting that he's able to monetize this land that the company has owned for 50 years. And the fact that the purchasers, the buyers are varied, I think that says a lot for our future. People look at us as a place where there is opportunity.
We received another commercial construction application just today, actually.
We did.
For a parcel that they just recently sold. So they're selling and people are ready to build. So that's good.
This is off the subject on this, but I had somebody ask me a question the other day about, we used to put and I don't follow all this stuff on the website and everything, Stephanie, there's no way one person could. But they were saying that they used to be able to follow on the website where permits were being issued, and they could follow who was getting a permit for this and that and the other thing. They can't follow that now. Did we make some kind of changes or is that just maybe user problem or what?
It's still there. It's not maybe quite as easy for people to find
get
and
to.
navigate through. Yeah. It's under the member side, and when you go into the permitting part of the member side, it's there.
It's there under the member side, under permitting there, okay. All right. I just read what's in the paper, so I believe the voice when they tell me who's getting a permit where, but I think we're looking at some exciting times for the village.
It's in the ACC minutes.
They're in the ACC minutes too, yeah, but, hmm? Yeah, we probably need to pass the sign-in sheet around for COVID so that we're legal. Okay, thank you very, very much. At this time, we're gonna turn it over to our marketing team. And we have a lot of guests here today. I'm sorry that I have my back to you, but apparently you're either on staff or you're volunteering property owners that are gonna help us with the marketing program. I wanna thank each and every one of you for coming out today. And Mike is gonna lead us. Jamie's gonna lead us.
Thank you, Stephanie.
This is a team, we're doing tag team here from either side of the room. And, we're just switching around computers here, and everybody's getting hooked up and that kind of thing, for those of you that are still watching us live. Yes,
Would this be a good time to have the new marketing subcommittee members just quickly introduce themselves?
yes, please do that.
But don't look at me. They have tags except for Wes. I couldn't find Wes.
You couldn't find Wes, you couldn't find his name tag?
I have his tag, I just didn't find him.
You didn't find him.
Everybody else
How
has
about
a name tag.
standing up and
I'm sure he would be an
telling me your name, telling us
He
your
said he
name,
was gonna be
and just introducing yourself since you're gonna be on the marketing subcommittee? Is this the marketing subcommittee for
Karen,
the
why don't you
finance
start?
and planning committee?
Correct. Karen, why don't you start?
Making sure I'm the only Karen, all right?
Cam,
All right,
John.
I'm Karen Roberts.
Cam.
I recently moved here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. However, I have roots here, Hot Springs Village. I have visited this place on vacation many times because I have family here, both a father and a brother here.
Amenities,
So I knew this was a great
facilities
place
for
to
our-
live. My husband recently had the opportunity to retire early, yay. So we are here and we are loving it so far. So much so, I want to spread the good word about the village to everyone, to give more people to share it, how great this place is. So that's what I wanted to, I sought out and I wanted to be on the marketing committee, because I think this is a great place. There are so many just natural things about this place that make it great. From an economic side, lots more people like me could retire early if they knew what they could get here. So I am thrilled to be here, I'm thrilled to be invited, and I think there are some great things ahead for the village and the future, I agree with you. So, thank you.
Thanks, Karen. A Steeler fan?
No.
No, oh, well, she's gotta go back.
My husband's a Raiders fan.
Oh,
so
okay,
I know.
that's kind of a strange deal to come from Pittsburgh, but anyhow. And we've got Kevin Sexton, who is our Discovery Package guy, and more to that, but anyway, he's a staff person. And then Judy,
I'm sorry, I was out of the room, what are we doing?
just say who you are and,
Oh, I'm Judy Weatherly, and I've been here in the village for about 8 years now, and loving it, and I'm so excited about all the changes we're gonna do, and the new people we're gonna bring in.
thank you. How about the,
Nancy?
let's
Yep,
go
go to
from
the
the front of
front.
this row back.
I'm Paul Day, and I've been here for a few years. We moved here in '97, and I've been pretty active in many of the affairs of the village.
Oh, good, you're gonna be able to give all these people that are just coming all the history then. Because you have to know where you've been to know where you're going. Morris,
Well, the village is too good, because I moved here in 2010, and now I've got both kids here. You know, so I just like it pretty good. Wayne and I are in the finance planning committee.
Yeah.
And then Kathy and I, we're on the strategic planning side, so
okay,
they have sort of broke us up into work too, so.
great.
So that's about it. Other than Marcy didn't give us name tags.
Well, you know,
Just the marketing committee, John, I'm sorry.
Nancy,
Hello, I'm Nancy Ornelas. I'm also Nancy J. Nathan. I am not running for the law. I just have two names, and here I go by Nancy Ornelas. I am 1 year resident as of this month, June, and absolutely love it. I am on the marketing subcommittee.
Again.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm a rollover, and happy to be involved, and will do all I can to continue doing the good work with the marketing committee, and look forward to work with all of you folks.
and Nancy has a connection to Great Britain.
Yes, I do. And my daughter's there, and my husband's English, so.
Yes, thank you.
I'm Bill Bidley. I've been here 7 years, but I fell in love with Hot Springs on a business trip. I lived on Lake Hamlin starting in 1972. I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, and thank goodness I'm here. It's kind of unique. I was in the fishing tackle business. I was on the lake committee for 4 years, chairman the last 2 years. And I pushed for fishing piers so hard. And I'm glad to hear you be a fan of fishing piers. We need them desperately in our community. My wife worked for the tourism division of Arkansas, and it's kind of unique. My wife was raised in the Majestic Hotel in downtown Hot Springs. Her dad was manager there for 28 years. So she's really a Hot Springs gal. We've been married like 26 years. And I was on the Hot Springs A&B Commission, as Kevin would tell you, a long time ago.
Right.
But I had a great time promoting the city of Hot Springs. I worked some with CJRW, which was an ad agency for the state. And so I've been in marketing, and my wife and I love living in the village. My grandchildren have followed us here, and we don't have to leave. We got 5 great grandchildren living 10 minutes from us. So we're gonna be here a while.
See, we're multi-generational here in the village. That's another plus for us. Yes, go ahead, Siri.
I'm Siri Wright. I am the assistant manager of KVRE in the village. I've been here, got an extensive radio background and a print background before that. My husband and I own a home here. Our son was raised here. So I'm just kind of anxious to jump in and kind of observe and see where I can help.
Thank you, Siri. Thank you. I talked Siri into coming. One of the things that we do on the board is after each one of our business meetings, one of us goes down and we do a little take 5, minor number take 5, minor take 7s or take 8s, and Siri has to cut out about 3 or 4 minutes. And anyway, I said that we were gonna have this marketing presentation, and we love the relationship that we have with KVRE Radio, and so I invited Siri to come today to see if I could twist her arm into joining this committee, so. Matt, did you want to say anything?
I'm Matt LeWarn. I work in the sales department, sales and operations for Tom Pepper, and I'm here for support. Been here 10 years, love it. And any questions you have, I'm here for.
Thank you, Matt, thank you. And of course, got Kathy and Wayne, and we really, really appreciate all the work that you were doing. I haven't seen you at pickleball, Wayne. I think maybe you're going at 7:30 and I'm playing at 9:30, but we do have to get our exercise in or we will die. So thank you. With that, Mike, are you ready? Jamie, are you ready?
We're ready.
Okay.
Well, first and foremost, we want to thank you for the opportunity for coming here today to talk to you about all of the things that have happened over the last 6 months. And I want to do a big thank you to a lot of the people in this room. You know, we've had input from board, we've had input from staff, we've had input from our subcommittees. Thank you very much to the original subcommittee of marketing that helped us a lot with the information that helped us base this plan and presentation. And we're very excited to meet all of the new folks that want to be a part of it, because this is a team effort. You know, I loved hearing that you wanted to go out and tell all of your friends about it. 47% of our folks that come here because somebody invited them to be here. And so we want more and more of that. But I just really, really want to thank everybody for being a part of all of the development that's happened here that brought us to this moment. I especially want to thank that lady right there.
Somebody out there?
No.
Thanks,
She really helped us with the original marketing subcommittee, and you know, it was a hard road getting through all of the materials and everything that got us here, but we're here and we're excited about what we have to tell you today. So, our marketing 2020 approach right now, we want a cohesive approach, one marketing team, integrates communication to prospects, new members, and current members. What that means is we want to bring everybody together on that plan, and we want to do it as a team. We don't want to have any fragmentation. We all want to be a part of that. We want to make it all go in one direction so we accomplish our goals. We're very excited to have the support of the sales agency for our prospect marketing website and brand lead generation campaign. This gives me an opportunity to tell you a little bit about our split right now. Our website right now is split right down the middle. We call the front side of it that everybody sees the prospect marketing side of things, and the member side is directed directly to the members. What we've been working on for the last 6 months has been the prospect marketing side of things, and the sales agency has helped us a lot with getting ourselves appropriate in the marketplace. The internal marketing team produces many of our communications without agency support. One of the things that Paul's been working on really, really hard for us is how do we cut out all of those things that cost us a lot of money in the past that were being done by agencies, and how can that be handled by our internal staff, by Joseph, who does our internal communication, and Paul, who does the rest of our community marketing outward. So those are three main things that we've been working on to make sure that we're bringing you the tightest plan, the least expensive plan, but getting the most bang for your buck. Okay, our work so far has been on, again, that marketing or the prospect side of the website. I loved how Mike presented it to us early on, that we needed to think of our website as part of our marketing team. Like it was another person that was out there talking on our behalf. And we needed to make sure it was the very best it possibly could be. Our brand discovery packages, in advertising, this is our online video, our online display, Facebook, paid search, print, cable. We've looked at all of the different ways that we can do this and do it better. Up until this point in time, 80% of our marketing had been done by print ads, and we wanted to find out better ways to do that where we reached our clientele, our target markets in a better way. So we've looked at all of these different options for us. Our other primary focus was on golf marketing. We know, please don't misunderstand me, we know there's lots and lots of other things to do out there, but a lot of the folks in our research have shown that they land on our website because they're looking at golf. Okay? They may not end up playing golf here, but they look at it as an amenity that they search for. So we've been concentrating a lot of our marketing around golf, and then some out to lakes and other venues. Our next focus that we were tagged with, and it's really helped us, is recreation, entertainment, events, dining marketing. So far it's been really limited due to COVID. We didn't get any favors from that, but it has been our focus of how can we work on that and do a better job of it. Just as an example, you've probably seen a lot more Facebook posts about what the dining options that you have in the village. But we want to make sure that we're really pushing this because we see this as a revenue piece for us. And so you'll see here in a minute, this is one of our big focuses. The other thing that we wanted to get much more clear on is member and new member communications. How can we stay in touch with folks? How can we get everybody the information that they need? What do you need to sell something out to your friends out there? We want to make sure that we're there and as a resource to you to make sure that we have all of that available. Social media is a huge piece of what we're doing now, and because we feel like that's how a lot of the target market, and Mike will be talking a little bit more about data and things around that, but we found that that is one of our main ways that people hear about it is through social media. A lot of our members use social media to tell people about the village as their first contact with us, and so we want to make sure that that's very good and you have the tools you need to do that with. The other thing that we heard loud and clear from the committee, and we're very proud of that, is measuring, evaluating, and adjusting. We don't want to be stagnant in what we do. We want to constantly, every month, be looking at, measuring, and evaluating. And if we need to make an adjustment, we need to make an adjustment. So don't think of this as solidly set in stone. Everything we do, and Mike constantly is with me going, okay, how good is that post doing? What's our year-over-year rates? All of those types of things so that we can make the adjustments we need to get the best possible return on our money from our marketing dollars. I think you're up next, Mike. Oh, you want me to do this one? Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I skipped one. So our we had two objectives. When it all came down to it, which was sell lots and put new rooftops on there because that was a way that we increased our revenues, and to increase our amenity revenue through increased usage of those two things. When we very first projected this last year, we were going to target 125 rooftops. Last year we didn't know COVID was going to hit us. Okay, so we've been out of the loop for a few months in being able to hit that target, but I think Stephanie, you said we had 34 that were already for this year. So what we want to do is push forward and see if we can at least get close to that number. This would give us 25,000 in 20 years.
Why are you still using an OCMP goal when this board killed the CMP? Why didn't you modify anything?
And what are you talking about up here?
The
That
125.
was the mantra of the CMP, that we're gonna have 2,500 rooftops in 20 years. And that 20-year target just kept moving and moving and moving and moving. And I'm disappointed that we would come into this thing with using a goal that this board has identified as not really being applicable anymore.
Okay, and what goal would you like us to add in there?
Why? This is your presentation.
No, I mean, we.
I'm just saying that,
This is
I
where
just
we
asked the
adjust.
why. I just asked the why.
But I think that brings up a good point, and that is that, yes, the CMP is gone. So what is there?
Yeah, it's a very good
So
point.
if they're going to be working toward goals, and it really helps to have goals to work toward, we haven't given them anything in the place of the
That's
CMP.
a very fair thing.
So why not at least let them use these goals until we give them something else?
And again, these two goals were set last June when we started the marketing, rewrite on the plan, and have moved forward. If we need, again, our mantra is adjust where you need to adjust,
Okay.
and if now's the time to do that, we'd be more than happy to do that.
And you didn't think that there was any need to adjust this in light of losing the first half of the year
It's
due to
not-
COVID?
We do believe we need to adjust. What we
Okay.
wanted you to know is what our original
Okay.
goal that was
Very good.
set,
Thank
that
you.
was put into the original.
Thank you.
Mr. Mark?
Okay. From a advertising, I'm gonna stand up and do this.
Mhm.
If that's okay with you guys.
They can probably hear you a lot better back there.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me back there?
Yes.
I'll use my theater voice. So from an advertising marketing standpoint, we're gonna cover four things. First is target audience, then marketing objectives and strategies, media strategy, and then we'll go through creative materials. So target audience, first of all, this is a definition of what we consider to be our best target audience. This is primarily going to drive media and messaging strategy. And so it is I think I said this last month, this is not an exclusive target audience, because we recognize that there will be people who will move into the village who do not match this target audience. But this target audience represents our primary target, because we believe this target audience gives us the best ability to add rooftops, whatever the number is. New rooftops can come when this is the target audience that we're able to attract. And so our target audience is empty nesters, retirees, and their influencers who are nearing or planning for retirement, have pension, retirement benefits, $50,000 plus household income, and have shown an interest in relocating during their retirement years. And that last part is important, because depending on the research you look at, between 93 and 95% of all people in or nearing retirement or the next chapter of their work life have no interest in relocating. And so our target audience from a targeting standpoint is to try to find those people who have shown some behavior that indicates that that is something that they're interested in. Yes, sir.
Was that pre-COVID facts?
Yes, that's pre-COVID. No one's done any research.
I'm guessing those metrics are gonna change.
Oh, absolutely, they're gonna change. We'll get into that a little bit later in terms of what we're already seeing.
And how would you compare that metric to, say, what it was 20 years ago?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't.
I mean, anybody have a feel? Do you think that people used to want to relocate more than what they do now? I mean, we've gone through a couple of really bad economic times that have affected this group of people that are starting to enter retirement.
Yeah.
In 2010, the number was 20%.
Okay.
Wanted to move, relocate.
20% wanted to move?
Relocate to a new city or relocate from their previous primary residence?
The latter.
from their primary residence. Okay, so the 93 to 95 is relocate from their primary residence to another location. So like right now, I'm working with a family member to try to relocate them from the condo they live in to a retirement community that will be within a 5-mile radius of their condo. And so there's a lot of research that doesn't do that distinction. And so for us, it's the ones
Trying to get to another place.
who are willing to uproot from the community they're in and move to a new community.
Okay.
So the marketing objectives, what are we trying to achieve? We need to increase brand awareness among our target audience. And we feel certain that the media strategy that we're going to go into next will do that well, because the number of impressions that we're going to get with our media strategy will far exceed the number of impressions and the reach from previous buys that, as Jamie said, were predominantly print. Our media strategy should also increase number of unique visitors to the marketing website through organic search, through paid search, and through paid advertising. That's just somebody's phone. Sorry. And then the third bullet point, really the most important, and this gets to the point where I said your website has got to become a member of your marketing team, because the current website has very few lead generation elements in it, and the conversion rate, and by conversion, it's if you are a visitor to my website but I never find out who you are, I can't sell you. Kevin cannot convince someone because they came to the website 10 times to come take a discovery package unless they identify themselves. And so a conversion is taking a website visitor to a workable lead.
Okay.
And so your current website does an abysmal job at converting visitors to leads. And the primary reason it does is because it doesn't focus on that throughout the website. You start getting into the website, the more interested you are, and you start reading articles and going to different parts of the website, the further away you get from the 1 or 2 pages that allow you to say, this is who I am, and I want to sign up for a newsletter, or I want you to send me information, or I want to come to the Discovery Center, or I want to book a discovery package. And so the more interested you get, the further away you get from the ability to say, here's who I am. And so that is the primary reason why our recommendation to Jamie and Paul was, we cannot spend your dollars advertising to bring people to the website until the website is ready to be a member of your marketing team. And so the website that we have built, as you go through it, you can never get away from the lead conversion tactics. They're on every page.
Okay.
And so that's why the majority of the advertising budget is still sitting there waiting to be launched, because we just didn't feel right about spending your dollars if the place where we're going to send them isn't ready to convert them. And then the last thing is increased number of discovery packages sold. Thumbs up from Kevin. So one of the very first things that we noticed when we dove into Hot Springs Village communications, website, brochures, advertisements, was there was no clear story. There was no consistent, clear story. Every brand has to tell a story to a consumer so that they understand who you are. And so I'm not going to read this whole thing because I did that a month ago, but this is kind of our long form story. This is the story of Hot Springs Village that we believe will be most appealing to our primary target audience. And so that's the brand message, and almost all of our communications come in one form or another from this brand message. Then we have our brand promise, which is basically telling someone what they can expect from our product. And it's got to be short. To the people who are searching for a retirement or relocation community, Hot Springs Village is the natural choice for living your best life while enjoying breathtaking scenery and unlimited opportunities for recreation, adventure, and community. And then two key elements from our creative brief, which is the blueprint that we use to build creative materials. The communications objective, which is basically answering the question of what's the main thing we're trying to convey in this ad. Our overall brand creative brief, communications objective, is Hot Springs Village offers an unbeatable and superior quality of life for active adults who are seeking to live in a vibrant community that offers a lower cost of living, recreation options, natural beauty, and robust arts and cultural amenities. And the clear point of difference or reason to buy, Hot Springs Village is the natural choice for living your best life. So speaking about post-COVID-19, the people that live in urban areas, it's no mistake that we're talking about scenic beauty, natural choice, etc. But just in the words, we want to make sure that they understand, in short, that this is different than the villages in Florida, where there's not much natural beauty because it's just a bunch of flat land and with row after row after row after row of houses. We have something, and we also, on the clear point of difference, are kind of riding on the coattails a little bit of the branding that the state of Arkansas tourism does. That's also by design.
Yeah, natural state.
Yes. Media strategy. Media strategy is primarily digital, and I'll give you a breakout in just a second. Why primarily digital media? First of all, because internet research is where most shoppers for our product start. A PRC study said 93% of all people who are looking for an active lifestyle community and considering relocating start that search online. And so if they're searching online, we need to be online because that's where they're doing their research. It also gives us the ability to better target and limit waste with your media dollars, and it empowers the ability to track effectiveness and optimize toward our desired KPIs. So for instance, I'm going to show you some ads, and some of these are going to be digital ads, and we may launch an advertising campaign with 8 ads, but within 6 weeks, those 8 ads may be down to 5. Because we can tell you ad 1 is driving more traffic to the website with a higher conversion rate, and ad 7 is driving half the amount of traffic and half the conversion rate. Or we may find out that ad 8 is driving a lot more people to the website, but it's converting dramatically less than ad 3. And so as we go through that, we're constantly making adjustments and optimizations to the creative that's working best.
What is a KPI?
A key performance indicator or index.
Thank you.
And so for us, our KPIs for this campaign are conversions on the website. If we could sell your product online like Amazon does, our KPI would be sales. But with a more complex and longer sales cycle product that can't be bought online, then that's our primary KPI. Our targeting methodologies, so how will we reach these people? The top 3 there are the primary targeting methodologies for our online display and our online video advertising. And so that's behavioral and contextual targeting. And I said this last month, you know, the internet knows if you like to hunt. The internet knows if you like to bike. There's profiles built into Axiom, Blue Kai, those companies. They don't know who you are, but they know your IP address. And they know that this IP address, they know my wife's IP address buys a lot of shoes. And my wife cannot get away from shoe ads when she goes online. Because Axiom knows she likes to buy shoes. And so there's people who say, I want to advertise only to people in these 8 states that like to buy shoes. Okay, well then here's 50,000 IP addresses that you can advertise to, and these people have shown by their behavior that they like to buy shoes. And so here we're looking for people who have been researching our product, who like to boat, who are interested in living on a golf course, and who match our demographics that we're looking for. And so we target in on those folks. That's behavioral and contextual. Sorry, that's behavioral. Contextual is, that's even better, because that's when if somebody is on a website reading about relocating in retirement, or playing golf in retirement, or living on a lake in retirement, if the story that they're reading on on any website is about that, if that's the context of the story, we can serve an ad to them while they're reading that story. So that's contextual targeting. And then geographic, we cannot, you don't have enough budget to advertise to the target audience in all 50 states or in the 48 contiguous. And so we have to determine what are our target states. This is a slightly different list than it was 6 months ago. And that the changes were based upon what we're seeing in your analytics in terms of, without doing advertising, which people in which states are already most interested in you. And we know that because they're getting to your website and spending time there. And so we dropped Kansas, and that was actually a good post-COVID move, because if you live in Kansas and you come to Hot Springs Village to take a discovery tour, you can't go home, you're stuck here. And so we added Tennessee and then Louisiana because of how impactful COVID's been there. There has been a dramatic spike in traffic to your website from Louisiana in the last 2.5, 3 months.
COVID.
They're ready to get out, yeah, absolutely.
But do we want them?
We'll put them in 14-day quarantine.
Absolutely.
Oh, there we go, 14-day quarantine.
Sorry,
Paul.
If they will buy a lot and build a house, you bet we want them. As long as they're quiet about LSU Tigers, but that's another story. Sorry, Paul. And then search retargeting, and so that is, you know how if you go online, you go to Google and you search for, a mountain bike. You say best mountain bikes. And you click on one link on there, and you go read a story from Bicycling Magazine about the best mountain bikes, but that's all you do. Well, for the next 2 weeks, you're going to see ads for mountain bikes. That's search retargeting. So when you go search for something specific, it goes in this search retargeting bucket, and then if an advertiser comes along and says, I'm looking for people that have searched for these things in the last 2 months, okay, well here's the people, here's those IP addresses of those people that are in this bucket that searched for that in the last 3 months. Okay, well I want to target them, naturally. And again, nobody knows who you are. There's no identifier attached. If there was, and sure it'd be a lot easier, we'd call them. Say, Kevin, here's the list. All I know is the IP address. And then site retargeting is the one thing here that's different. And so that is actually when people come to your website, but they don't convert, then we follow them with advertising for about 2 weeks after they leave the site. And so that's site retargeting. That's only people that come to our website.
And so when you say they do not convert, you're saying that they don't give us an identifier.
Bingo. So if they give us an identifier, if they fill out a form, if they sign up for the newsletter, if they fill out the form for a discovery package, then they don't get retargeted.
Okay.
Right? We've accomplished our goal. Okay. We've converted them, we now know who they are, so we're not going to pay to go follow them around.
How far does the search retargeting retargeting lingers as far as answer? 2 weeks again?
It's totally in our control.
I know, but what do you use?
Typically, I think on search retargeting is generally gonna be 4 to 6 weeks with a maximum of 2 or 3 ads served per day. What you don't wanna do is creep somebody out.
Stalking?
Harassment.
Yeah, well, Zappos. See, I know a lot about shoe buying online. But, you know, Zappos overdoes it. You go look at a pair of shoes on Zappo, because my wife will get on my computer sometimes and look at a pair of Zappos shoes, and oh my gosh, I get to work the next day and I get served 14 Zappos ads. And it's like, yeah, leave me alone. So we do it very respectfully.
Okay.
Tellico Village, the Villages, and what was there was the Landing.
The landings.
Right, so I spent a lot of time over the last 4 months looking at all of your competitors' websites. And they all think that I am the best target audience in the world to come relocate to their community. And Tellico just follows me everywhere I go. They've not dropped me off ever. And so it'll be 3, 4, 5, 6 a day for a week, and then 2 months later, I'll end up on some obscure website and there's Tellico Village ad again. And then paid search. And so paid search is cost per click advertising. It is in today's digital world, paid search advertising is foundational. It is that foundation for the marketing house. And the reason why is because first of all, you don't pay any money for impressions. Impressions are free. You only pay if they click on it and get to your website. So that's thing one. It's very affordable, and it's obviously the clicks are more expensive than they are in some other things, but I'm more than willing to pay, 82 cents to $1.12 if I can get somebody who's searching for active lifestyle community with lakefront home. If somebody's searching for that and I put my ad in front of them and they click on my ad, that's the best lead we can get in advertising. They're searching for our product, we serve them a search ad, they click on it. And so that's the best targeting. Those are just some, the keyword and the key phrase spreadsheets that we will have will probably start with over 400 keywords and keyword phrases. And so there's this thing that changed the search industry several years ago where Alexa and Siri started changing the way consumers went and searched online. People used to search online with word or two. Retirement village. That's what they'd say. Well, now they're so used to this that people go into search engines now and say, what are the best places to retire in the South? That's their search phrase now. And so it took the number of phrases and keywords that we have to include in our buy and expanded it exponentially. And that's called long tail searches is the technical term for that. And search is the one thing that every day, even multiple times a day, the algorithms of our buying platform will optimize our search buy toward those search phrases that are giving us the lowest cost per conversion. And so that platform is tied into the back end of your website and knows when somebody converts and knows what ad it was from and will constantly optimize the buy toward the best value. From a media strategy standpoint, as I said, paid search is foundational, and so about 30% of the budget is going toward paid search. About 25% toward Facebook. The primary reason for that is because if we were selling tiny homes to millennials, Number 2 on there would probably be Instagram. If we were selling skateboards, it would be TikTok or Snapchat. But for our target audience, Facebook is where they're at. And Facebook provides us with great targeting options. And then online video at 20%, online display at 14%, print ads at around 6%. And then we're doing a little cable test buy in the Central Arkansas DMA. And I won't go into it, but it's more targeted than your typical cable buy. Comcast has come up with some targeting capabilities for cable ads that we're going to be using for that buy. It's relatively cheap, especially if it's well targeted. Okay, so that's the end of the strategy and that. Now I'm going to go into the creative, and I'm going to give everybody one big giant caveat to creative. Creative is very subjective. Okay, just like clothes, just like home decor, just like shoes. You know, my daughters used to laugh at me. They go, "Dad, do you like these new shoes?" And I'd say, "I hate them." "Okay, they're good." You know, if I didn't like their shoes and they knew their shoes were probably cool. But, you know, every home, there's different home styles. There's different styles of furniture. There's different styles of clothes. And you can get the exact same target audience. You can go down the street, on a street here in Hot Springs Village, and go into every home. And everybody's going to have a little bit different taste. And that is the nature of creative. Everybody has a little bit different taste. And so it is impossible to create advertising that everybody goes, "Oh my gosh, I love that," just because it's too subjective. And so I always say that before a creative presentation to a large group. And some of the research that I typically point out is, for many, many years, USA Today did what they called an ad meter. And so they had a thing, I think it was every 2 weeks for a while, and they would take a national TV spot from a national advertiser, and they would get it in front of 2,500 consumers across the country and ask them, "Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you like it a lot? Do you somewhat like it? Are you neutral toward it? Do you not like it, or do you just not like it a lot?" And with literally hundreds of ads that they did, the highest likability ad that they got was under 70%. That was the best. And most of the TV spots that they did in there, that range was probably between 35 and 50 or 55 was the range for a good result for a TV commercial. So just know that. Okay, so campaign elements. This is an ad that I think comes out this week.
This week in Ideal Living.
And so Ideal Living is an example of really good print ad targeting. You know, we all wish that there were 20 publications like Ideal Living that were specifically targeting people that are researching where to relocate to in the second chapter of their life. But there's not. There's this one, and it's a real good one, and their website's real good. Because they are only talking to who we want to talk to. And you'll see under there new home sites and homes available. 3-day discovery packages start at $269. And this is a 30-second video commercial.
In Hot Springs Village, it's all about living your best life. Your best drive, your best hike, your best cast can all happen here. Surrounded by breathtaking scenery with adventures at every turn. It's no wonder that we're the largest private gated community in North America. So, if you're searching for a retirement or relocation community, Hot Springs Village is the natural choice for living your best life. Visit us at explorethevillage.com.
And so the first person that has some subjective issues with that, to be honest, is me. There's things about that I want to improve. But we did not the sales agency and the current marketing team did not do any video work to make that happen. That everything there was in our library. And frankly, the library that was inherited by that team and by this agency is very limiting. There is not much video that gives you a sense of place. We have literally hours and hours and hours of slow motion, up close video of people doing things. And so, hi, we're an active lifestyle community. Let me show you this one person who's playing pickleball at this speed. It does not do what we need it to do. And so, for instance, last time you said, I want to see more stuff of our art scene. I do too. We incorporated the art scene into the splash video on the website, but the lighting of it is so dramatically different from anything in here, and the granularity is completely different. We didn't feel good about using it here. We need to get that in the can so that we can show it. We need to get restaurants. We need to get a beautiful shot of people eating outside on the patio at the Coronado Club overlooking the golf course. There's a lot of things that we want to do in the future to add to this, but with the assets that we had available, this is what we have.
We understand.
Here's the 15 seconds.
From tea time to me time, Hot Springs Village has all you need to truly live your best life. Plus, we're the largest private gated community in North America. So what are you waiting for? Book your discovery package today at explorethevillage.com.
And then some banner ads. And so these are the online display banner ads that will appear on various websites depending upon the targeting. Last one, yeah, this is our retargeting banner.
Retargeting?
After they've come to our website but didn't identify themselves. And then Facebook ads, we are going to be buying primarily what's called carousel ads. And so an ad will appear in your news feed, and it's got a little arrow to the side. And so it either scrolls automatically or you can scroll it to see more of the ad, depending upon your settings in Facebook. And so
And Jamie sent us all, the board members, she sent us all an email about if we're on Facebook, if you're a member of Facebook, that, you know, to go in and like Hot Springs Village.
absolutely.
And
that's a good point.
You know, we've had a tendency to shy away after we come on the board. We have a tendency to shy away from social media because we really don't like to go get the arrow stuck in our back every afternoon. But
the nature of social media.
Well, Jamie is the official arrow receiver.
One thing to understand is if you live inside Hot Springs Village, you will most likely not see much of any of this advertising.
Right, because we're not the target.
Right. Arkansas is our target, but we will exclude this zip code.
Yeah,
Why are we gonna pay?
right.
Why are we gonna use your money to go pay to tell people to live here, you should come live here?
Right, but we have a role in
And
enhancing.
in social media,
in enhancing it.
absolutely.
And this is why last week at our board meeting, I made the statement to everybody to, you know, just kind of, let's keep the rhetoric within us and let's not try to blast it on social
Right.
media. We've got email addresses. I shouldn't have said that, should I?
Our online video buy will include buying inventory on YouTube. That will be one of the channels we'll certainly be buying.
When we start putting a price tag to this.
That's coming up.
Okay.
I got the numbers down.
You know, as I'm watching this, and I think maybe Nancy will concur from the months that we sat on the marketing committee, this is far, far, far and away a huge improvement over what has been done in the past, over any of the marketing that's been done. It is pretty impressive.
Let's tag on the Virginia Slims line. You come along with it.
I'm trying really hard to listen.
Yeah.
Incorporate.
Okay, and then these are some examples of paid search ads. So as you can tell, they're not very pretty.
Yeah, but that's what we get from other paid search ads.
Right, I mean, that's what a paid search ad looks like. And paid search, one of the reasons paid search is going to be very important for you guys is because the aggregators in this industry, there are aggregator websites in this industry. Okay, and so that's Ideal Living, that's 55 Plus Communities, that's privatecommunities.com. So they dominate the organic search results. So if you go search for best retirement communities in the South, it's likely that 8 to 10 of the organic search results that you get on page 1 of Google are going to be from those aggregators. And so you got to pay to get on that first page. And there's no community yet that has been able to push those guys off of the first page just because their SEO is so strong. And
Wait, I think I heard a telephone.
You heard wrong.
I heard wrong? Because that's $20 to the village
You
employees
do have to
benefit
announce it at the beginning of the meeting.
Well,
for the
I don't,
public.
it's been, you know, we need, you know, it's a good cause.
I'm sorry, you guys.
Cash not accepted.
We did not warn them on the way in.
Okay, you've had your warning.
And so there's two things about that matter. Number one, that's why paid search is so important here. But it's also why making sure that you're doing a good job of having accurate, up-to-date, compelling, and persuasive content on those aggregators' website is so important. Because, like them or not, a lot of people are clicking on those links.
Well, how do you keep all the moving parts going on this thing?
You have a good marketing department, and hopefully a good marketing. And so, like Lloyd sent an email to Paul. We were just talking about this, and noticed that there was a factual error on the Ideal Living website.
Ideal Living, they just needed the update because we just reduced the number of beaches.
Right.
It was I sent it to Lloyd. It was
Okay,
on
so
yeah.
I mean that when you talk about what working together as a community that includes a marketing subcommittee, a board, a staff, and outside vendors, paying attention to those kind of things is really important because a lot of traffic can come from those aggregators' websites
Okay.
because they dominate the organic search results.
So our verbiage is very important.
Very important.
So you didn't think Lloyd was being a pain in the butt? When
Heavens no.
Very important. It was-
Oh, yeah, they
it was
did.
2 emails, it was done in an hour,
Yeah.
and it was fixed.
No, I mean,
But, yeah,
I'm glad somebody thought of it.
I'm gonna speak for Paul, he just said this, he said, I'm so glad to know people are paying attention to that, that's helpful. So, that concludes,
Yeah, but see, we're tracking all that back. That was my husband who pointed it out to me.
okay,
And I had a busy day yesterday, so I pointed it out to Lloyd. See, this is what, we are all one big team.
Right.
Working together here.
Exactly.
Lloyd, she's not gonna let you take the credit.
No. This is, there's no I in,
It's not gonna
there's
happen,
no
Lloyd.
I in team. What I'm saying is, we are a huge team here, and our property owners play a big key in that team.
Yep.
Which is why we've got them here volunteering to help on committees and et cetera, because
yeah,
we all have to work on this to get the most bang for our buck. And as Jamie started the meeting, or this session of the meeting today, is, what was your percentage, Jamie? 40 what?
47%, right off the top, come from village.
right,
Word of mouth.
I mean,
I love this place, you come here too. Morris got his 2 kids to retire here, or move here. I think one's still working, right, Morris?
I got them both working.
You got them both working? Hey,
Both
see,
in
so
our restaurant.
they're still paying into our social security, this is a good thing. I mean, you know, this is a new world is being created here, and we recognize that broadband is, or really not broadband, because we're going off of that and going into all the cell things and everything with the new kind of fibers and the little miniature towers and the little, you know, all kinds of things are happening there. But we're gonna be able to attract people of all age groups here. And we've got the new roads being built. It's gonna be quicker to drive from Hot Springs Village to get to CHI Hospital, to go to work there as a doctor, a nurse, a technician, or whatever, than it would be to live in Hot Springs, some of the outlying areas of Hot Springs, and be in the city and get to that job site.
right.
See, Diana's taken my moment in the sun away from me and then became a technological expert.
No,
No,
way.
second.
No
that's
way.
very clear.
I was on the
That's
phone
not-
with AT&T this week. I'm still trying to get internet at my house.
Well, I mean, we needed photography, there was photography we needed for the website, and so.
Well, we've got some great photographers in this community.
We're gonna talk about that.
Y'all mobilized and we
Yeah.
got great
Yeah.
photography.
Yeah.
That's time for me to shut up.
Thank you very much, Mike. I really appreciate you coming over. Thank you. Now I'm gonna hear about the money.
We're gonna get to the money, but
Sure,
first, we're
we
gonna
got
get to the
money.
things that cost really nothing or very little. All these things that we do for members and new members, we don't engage the agency, we engage me and Jamie and Joseph and people, and we put on new member meetings, we put out new member communications. Jamie is going to give you all a folder of what we give every time a new member comes to the POA. And this is, we had a brand new folder that we created.
Oh, wow.
So here's an example. Nothing in here was created by an agency. Everything was done in-house,
Oh, thank you.
inexpensively, Vistaprint. And so we use when we have the opportunity and we don't need the big resources of a big agency, we do it ourselves.
Well, we have a pose shot of Matt here on the front.
Well, there he is.
There he
He's a
is,
star.
you know,
That's why
I
he's here
mean,
today.
How many takes did it take to
I don't
get?
know, Matt, that was last summer.
One shot.
One shot?
One shot. It was like Sinatra. They
That's
just
his
call it one take
natural state of
Sinatra.
being.
Yeah,
So
and
one
that
of
is
the
a
things.
really big fish.
Yeah. So, we had the old folder that had the topographical map. It looks like it was designed by the Corps of Engineers, and it just was not that exciting. So we got real people doing real things on our folder, and that's just, this is a multi-use folder. We use them for a lot of reasons, but we give these packages to new members. Before Jamie got it all cleaned up, we had kind of an aggregate mishmash of sheets and rates and all these different colors and things to tell people about the amenities and the fees here. Well, now we've got this nice booklet and the nice maps and everything. So it's all, you need me to be on a microphone? I thought it was loud enough. Okay, now I'm really loud.
No, they need to hear you.
So, one of the things, and I do this every month, I get from Donna Reed, I get the new member data, and I go through it, new member by new member, and I say, what state did they move from? So, what it boils down to is 2/5 of our people come from somewhere else in Arkansas, 1/5 come from Texas and 2/5 come from everywhere else. And with the sample size now of 169, we're starting to see that as to be a pretty consistent pattern. But every month I will update that. And that's year to date since beginning of January. I told you we had new members meetings. We got off to a great start and had a big new members meeting at the DeSoto Club in February, and then COVID happened. And then we had to cancel. We did a meeting on Zoom. What was interesting on Zoom is it told us that maybe Zoom is a really good medium for talking to people about the village that don't yet live here. I think we had more people from outside of Arkansas than inside of Arkansas on our Zoom new members meeting. And so that may be a good use of Zoom and having video calls, maybe on a discovery package type situation, but maybe not so much for newcomers. So we're going back to the DeSoto Club. We put out in the Friday Digest a request if you want to RSVP to me for the newcomers meeting on July 9th. Well, by Monday at 3 o'clock, I had filled up the limitation of 10 households. Now I've got people on a waiting list.
So we need to have 2 of them then.
We need to have more, yes. And so we've got in the can videos as well as live speakers come. We have focused the newcomers meetings not on the rules and regulations of living in the village, but on recreation, golf, dining, fitness, entertainment, all the fun stuff. And we also have the police and fire departments there because people have a lot of questions about safety and about the rules of living here, but they don't want to hear what size fence can I build. So we make it fun, we keep it light. And then the newcomers materials you've just been given. So switch to the next one. These are all the things that we do with sometimes help from the agency, but a lot of times we do it on our own. The Advocate magazine, for example, the sales agency helped framework. They helped do the template, but then I wrote the stories and Joseph did all the layouts. The Friday Digest, we do that every Friday, and now Joseph is doing a COVID-19 daily digest. So 5 digest emails a week to those who are opted in. The 11x17 maps you have in your packet, and we're going to be updating and reprinting those soon. Those are the popular maps that are given away at the gates as well as at the POA. Then I'm sure you've all seen the wall of brochures. We have set that up because we had every organization wanting to come and stuff the bag at the new member orientation. We now say, no, you put your brochures, people can come by anytime, and they can, whether it's your church, your club, and we have plenty of room for your brochure. The Real Estate Partner Program, we'll get into that in a minute because that's a great new program, but those materials that we've developed for the realtors can also be shared with anybody. If you have friends and you want to send the materials, we have PDFs, you can email them. You don't have to put paper in an envelope to mail it. Okay? Social media, we talked about that earlier. Mike showed you ads, things that we would pay to be on with Facebook. We're daily on Facebook for free. And we've made this a very positive marketing component. We don't have as many complaints. When we do have complaints, Jamie gets on there and she responds 7 days a week. If somebody has a question, a complaint, you address it, you be honest, you take care of that. Instagram and Twitter, we do a lot of kind of the repeat material from Facebook on Instagram and Twitter. Those are not used as much by our target and by our membership. We're not on there quite as much. We made the decision early this year to take all the content, Explore the Village, Hot Springs Village Official has all the meetings like this, has 4-hour-long board meeting videos. Well, we wanted to take those shorter, more brand-oriented, more sales-oriented messages. We moved them over to an Explore the Village YouTube page. Currently only has 7 videos on it, but as we develop these, we'll put more on there. And then LinkedIn should not be used for dining or tennis or pickleball and golf. LinkedIn is an HR tool, and we have an opportunity to leverage that as well. All right? So here are the numbers, if you can see those. We have over 5,000 followers on Facebook. We have increased Facebook followers by 8%, and Jamie's going to tell you how we've increased Facebook followers in less than 6 months by 8%. Jamie has a story.
Well, one of the things that happens on Facebook is every time we put out one of those great pictures of the lakes or the golf course or anything like that, we have a ton of people that go on there and like them, okay? If they have not liked our page, then I send them an invitation to like it. And literally 2 or 3 times a day, I go on there, every time it dings into my Facebook in my office, and I send them an invitation to like it. And so we've been doing quite a bit of that over the last 6 months, especially during COVID. A lot of people have been going out there and doing that, and it's allowed us to increase our followers by 1,728 just by doing that, okay? The other parts of that is that if someone comes on that and asks a specific question, Paul was talking about that, I get into a conversation with them about their specific things. I had a lady just this morning who through followers, I got her to like. She's in Colorado. She's sick of the snow that snowed in June, and she started, I clicked it and said, well, like this. She liked it, and now we're in a conversation about when she's gonna book her discovery package with Kevin to come out here. Had we not done that, had we not invited her to like, we would never have started that conversation. But those are the small, little granular things that we're able to do, and because we've got somebody assigned to answer all of that, answer questions, do anything they want along that line, we're able to generate 1-by-1 conversions.
Okay, you can see the other numbers. Like I said, the YouTube Explore the Village is still an infant. Go back one slide. I do want to point out that the page that this is on has 590 subscribers. And when Mike Sells presented the board meeting on May 20th, he got 1,900 views. Go to the next page. Well, yeah. So this is what attracts attention. This is what gets engagement, either people responding, liking, sharing. This is the kind of content, and we see exactly what kind of content scores highest. The third-party content, when we could say Hot Springs Village is the most affordable small town in Arkansas, we got 6.3 thousand people engaged with that. Lots of interest in the outdoor pool, lots of questions, people liked the pictures, they wanted to know. And then the greatest thing that we do is we get great photography from our members who agree that we can use their photos on our website and our brochures, whatever we want to do, and they send us these beautiful photos. We've asked for lakes, we've asked for springtime wildlife, and they give us these great shots, and then we see exactly how well those are doing. So we continue to ask for photos through our digest, and people are very excited to see their picture, and they're very willing to let us use their photo. And we put that into our archive, which I'll tell you about in a minute. The Real Estate Partner Program started the very first week of January. We got 7 firms who agreed to buy in at $200 a seat. So we sold 93 seats and generated $18,600. We've already generated over 1,600 leads, and these go in proportion to the number of seats bought. Not all the firms all bought a different number of seats. So if we have 100 new leads and one firm bought 17, those 17 go to firm A, and then the next 10 go to firm D. So it's a kind of a serpentine cycle of giving those leads, and those come through a variety of ways. A lot through our website, through the other third-party websites like Private Communities and Ideal Living.
How are we tracking the success of those leads?
The success of the leads, Kevin, you want to say anything in terms of just the...
We're at the point where it's time to evaluate, and so we're sending an Excel spreadsheet of every lead that every firm has gotten to find out what was the conclusion of that lead, and those Excel spreadsheets will go to the 7 firms next week.
So how often do you plan, I mean, if you started that, what'd you say, you started that in January, February?
Yes.
So what do you plan to do that, just every 4 months or so then, or 5 months, or?
To follow up?
Yeah, the follow-up.
Well, for this year's MOU, Diana, we just plan to follow up halfway through. I mean, that's what.
So you just plan a two-trip ticket?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Those logos you see on that banner, those are the 7 firms that opted in and bought in. Other firms wanted to join midstream, but the 7 who had opted in wanted to wait and not open it up to new membership until next year. So they bought in, those are the 7 firms through the end of 2020. And then what you see there is one of the many different types of sales materials we provide. We took an existing piece of collateral and we created an empty space at the bottom so they can brand it themselves.
Okay.
You go to the next one. So we do a lot of things. Like I said, we had the kickoff luncheon and we had a kind of a World Cup draw for the lead order. We have a page on our existing website, and it will be, of course, on the new website, where the logos rotate. So we don't always put the same firm at the top. Every time you refresh, those logos will rotate, so we give everybody a fair shot. Really proud of the work. A lot of work went into this photo archive. Everybody had different folders and shared drives and hard drives of all these photos, and it's always going to be a work in progress, but we have now a categorized photo library on a Google shared drive. If I need a photo of Lake Segovia, I can go find one.
That's hard to find.
And yeah, no, well, thank you, Larry. I mean, that was the last lake we needed. But we're going to continue to build that. We share those with our realtors. We don't put every photo we have on there because we only want photos that we'd be proud for someone else to use to represent the village. The collateral, I showed you one of those sheets. There's a whole folder in that same shared drive with fact sheets, we took the Advocate magazine and we just pulled out the stories so you didn't have to read all about the other types of, the board elections and things that are over. We just have those 9 stories there that are great testimonials. We're going to be making the map available. And again, those things are also available if you need them. We can give you access to those things. And we have a lot of material, and that's the wonders of email and PDFs, is that you can send what you used to have to mail, you can send to people. We did a discount golf certificate program. We gave each firm 100 stamped and numbered and signed golf certificates that they can share with their clients that give them a discount. Every month we put 3 listings from our real estate partner program on our page on privatecommunities.com. So we rotate that. We had a lottery of those slots, and you can put 1 featured home. And of course, if you get a lead from that goes straight to you. That doesn't go into the lead hopper. The banner, as you saw in the Discovery Center, we do have meetings. We get their input. We've had a lot of good input from the realtors. And they are always the first to be offered sponsorship opportunities. You're going to see in a minute that we sold and made $5,000 off selling golf scorecard logo sponsorships, as well as $1,000 off the fishing challenge, or even more, I think. We've got, we let them have kind of first dibs at sponsoring. So there's a lot of value we deliver to the realtors.
Yeah, we've been doing the golf scorecards for as long as I can remember.
Okay.
Bought one 10 years ago, 15, John.
All right. This takes us a little bit off the path of getting people to give us a lead and get a discovery package. This is pure selling of golf packages. We do that, and we've run that ad in an Oklahoma and an Arkansas magazine. We trailed off because of COVID, but it's important when we hear that golf is at capacity or the courses are full or they're having to manage around COVID. All of that is true, but it's just kind of like the airline. I can always buy a plane ticket for 3 months from now. I may not be able to get on tomorrow's flight. And if you look at the priority scheduling, and Matt helped me with this, golf courses are first blocked up for whenever they have scheduled maintenance. And then we book them for tournaments. And then we book them for Hot Springs Village League play. The 4th thing we do is, if we can collect the fees up early, we book future golf packages. And so that's how we are able to book a package on, it's a course that might be filled this week, but it still has tee times for 30 days or longer out. Then we go to members and guests along with non-resident members. If they book 90 days prior to play, then we have our lottery of tee times, and then we just have sort of the remnant tee times. So there's a waterfall, and that gives us that opportunity to sell high revenue golf packages to visitors who just want to come here to play golf. We certainly want to take the opportunity to make sure they see the village, have an opportunity to meet with whoever they want to meet with, but they're coming primarily to play on a golf package. We are looking at a golf package media test, and Mike can help you a little bit with this one. We, instead of just running magazine ads, we're looking at a way to take some of the same type of creative elements and do digital targeted ads to people to sell them golf packages. We'd like to take some of our golf marketing money and do a 6 to 8 week test campaign. And this is what that ad would look like. You're going to see a very similar look, but instead of calling to action for the discovery package, it's going to be for booking a golf package.
What do you consider driving distance? 5 hours or what?
Dallas, Memphis, Northwest Arkansas, Shreveport.
Southern Missouri?
Certainly.
Southern Missouri?
Certainly, yes. Here was the scorecard sponsorships I told you about. And then discovery packages. That's, of course, the primary call to action. We would love everybody that sees our ads to book a package. So far, 22 have been sold in a very challenging 2020. And right now, we are using marketing dollars to subsidize, to lower the price of the discovery package by $50. And that's the summer special through August. We can extend that, we can change that. But if you go to the website, we will have everything from the inexpensive RV package to the packages with golf, and there's even the Diamante package. We've talked a lot. Everybody has seen the website. We have gotten lots of your input. It was great. We want to thank everybody. We have had lots of viewing and vetting, and we have made all the adjustments that we were asked to make. We have explained some adjustments we couldn't make, some adjustments we needed to do this or that on.
At this time, I would like to thank Diane Belinsky. She's not here.
Yes.
But she put in, I don't know how many hours, but a lot of hours.
A lot.
A lot of hours combing through the website on the behalf of all of us. And I just want to make sure that Diane Belinsky, in fact, Ella, would you make sure that we send a thank you note to Diane
Yes,
Belinsky?
Please.
As well as
Thank
Paul
you.
Moore.
Paul Moore
And
as
Paul,
well.
too.
But no, I wanted to call out Diane. Diane did a spreadsheet on everything that she saw, and we had a dialogue, and we, in very rapid succession, took an issue, resolved it, took an issue, resolved it. And it was Diane, me, the sales agency, we got those things fixed.
But Diane stepped up as a property owner, volunteered all of her time and talents for us, and that's part of the building of this community, and it's very much appreciated.
Yeah.
I mean, I realize you did a great job.
No,
too.
thank you, no.
We're paying you to do your job.
I know, she got paid nothing. She got paid nothing. No, she really did. She stopped what she was doing in her life and took the time to go over it and go over it extensively to make sure things were looking right. So at this point, the site is ready. We are not, there's nothing left to fix unless somebody else tells me there's something else to fix. We are done. It is on the launch pad. And there's about, and we'll explain in a minute, there's about a 4 business day cycle between it's all good to you actually go to explorethevillage.com and you see this instead of what you see now. And then there will be another cycle. We go to a 4 to 7 business days between, okay, now it's up and running, now we can run the ads. And it's the technicalities of setting up a website and then linking that website to all the kinds of advertising that Mike showed you. Okay, next.
Are you ready for the next slide?
I'm ready for the next slide. Is this where we get to the numbers? Okay. All right, when, I started October 25th, and when we first got the budget approved in November, and this was a consolidation of departmental budgets. And this added up to $395,000, but there were some things in there that were just as a marketing manager really hard for me to put into a category, such as contracts and special programs and events. So the next budget is taking that same number of dollars and putting it into the things that we really buy in marketing and that we really invest in. From the sales agency contract, the biggest number on there is the media. And that is a combination of what Cells has in their plan and what we have already booked with things like Ideal Living and Private Communities. So that's the air and space of advertising. And then everything else are production expenses or are budgets that were earmarked for certain types of marketing: golf, amenities marketing to members, racket sports and lakes. Go to the next slide, you can see, and this is where I'm going to pass out a sheet. We have only committed or spent about 41% of the budget so far. And so what we have, and I'll hand out this out. You want to hand it out? Okay.
I'll be your banner.
You'll be my Vanna. So what we have is a detailed breakout of this. And it shows you those budget categories, and it shows you what we've committed and uncommitted. So the big uncommitted amount is, of course, this media plan. The things that we are ready to engage the sales agency to go and buy on our behalf, and at no commission. That is a big difference from the way we've worked before. The sales agency is paid out of that contract. They are not paid out of a media commission. So they are media agnostic. There's no incentive for the agency to sell us one kind of media buy versus the other. We're simply paying them for their time to manage this. So this is where we are on the budget and the media plan dollars. And you can see that there are many of those categories where we have not tapped into because of COVID, because we didn't have anything to market at the time.
Okay.
So, Paul, the committed?
Committed.
Has that been spent or just?
Committed.
Committed.
It's mostly spent, but it's also committed. For example, the sales agency contract is, it's a commitment. They've delivered most of their scope of work already.
Right. Yeah, that was a contract.
Has
committed, what's that?
Has the staff or anybody put any numbers to any projected revenues, results from spending this kind of money?
I have not. It's in terms of, this is long-term branding. This is not a retail type investment where you're going to get an immediate return. But in terms of growing the number of households, growing the population, and that's the idea, is that we're going to get more new members off this. But in terms of an ROI on that spend, no.
In that same tone, I would like to see a payroll number in here.
Okay, well, that payroll was not in the marketing budget, so therefore.
In the marketing departments I've been involved with, that was a big component of the marketing budget. Okay. Because you have to have folks to enact this, and how you manage your folks is just as important as how you manage your spend.
And Paul, from a cash flow standpoint, we need to see a further breakdown, I think, on committed versus what has been spent versus what's scheduled to be spent, to include the uncommitted.
Okay.
As to kind of the timing when that's going to happen, because we're doing cash flow analysis now, and so we kind of have to know when these things are going to hit, so that we can plan for them.
We certainly can do that.
Can I say one thing too about the ROI? I mean, I know at some point, 4 or 5 months ago, we made some assumptions based on some data, but some of it was assumed data on, so what is the average lifetime value of a new rooftop? If you take a new rooftop, this is the immediate revenue that you get from that, then these are the POA dues that get paid over a course of what's the average length of residence for a new person, and then here's the average amount of revenue that we get off of amenities, recreation, etc. And we didn't formalize it because no one asked us to, but we did start on that.
We looked at
and it was, I mean, we didn't have to get to 125 new households per year to be break even on the marketing.
It really needs to be formalized.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, we've had a lot of changes here, which you recognize that. And one of the things that has been a problem for many of the people that are sitting on this board, and everybody just jump in here and interrupt me if I'm wrong, because I'm speaking for the entire board here when I'm speaking, is that a budget gets approved. In this case, it was approved in December of 2019 by a board of which I'm the only one sitting here. I mean, we have turnover, but we've had a lot of turnover. But spending to a budget is a forecast, a budget is a plan. We had a budget that we approved that had some unrealistic revenue projections to justify the expenses that went into the budget in the first place. We knew we never were going to reach those revenue numbers. But after COVID-19 came, we now absolutely, and it's, you know, we're coming on July. I mean, June's almost over. We've almost experienced 6 months of the year. We're halfway through 2020. The money's not there. Now, we have money. We're not, I mean, people get concerned when I, as the chair, make a comment about the money's not there. We have money. But as Lloyd said, we have a cash flow issue. And if you're committing funds, you gotta be able to write the check.
Okay. I get it. I can totally get it.
And so we need, I mean, I can say for the board, I'm ready to launch the website and see how the website goes. But I don't think we're ready to start spending the ad money yet until we get a better feel for the dollars and run it. I mean, we have a fantastic finance and planning committee that some members are here today to work through these things and help us with all this, because it's too much for just our accounting department to handle. It's too much for just our board members to handle, and we're all one big team here. But we gotta make sure when we make a commitment that we can honor our commitments and pay the bills.
In terms of the next 6 months of paying it out, yes.
Yes.
I can do that.
Exactly.
We can do that.
And that's what we have to be looking at before we say we're ready to make a motion to go.
Right.
Because the idea that the Hot Springs Village Property Owners Association spends money and it's already approved because it was approved by a budget, that ended.
I understand.
That's over.
I understand.
So
Now-
we all have to work together to figure out what's best for the, I mean, we know we need more rooftops, but we also know that it's time to start selling some dirt too. It's time to have people that are 50, 75, 100 miles away having amenity lots again. And paying the lower tier rate on assessments, which in round numbers is $40, and coming in here and playing golf and eating at our restaurants and putting money into our coffers that way too. That's how this place made it for probably 40 years. And we got away from that.
I think it's very important that we realize that just spending money and having a great plan is one thing. But, and we did a great job, we sold 10 houses. Of course, we threw away $800,000 to do it, that's my point. We've gotta have something to back up our results, a long range, how much does a house give us over 10 years? Because once we spend this much money this year, we only brought in, we spent enough money to bring in $8,000 in revenue. But we spent $400,000 to get it. Yeah, it's gonna take many years for that $8,000 we did this year with all those people to make up for that $800,000, because we're gonna spend it another, or $400,000, we're gonna spend it again next year. No.
Well, to what Mike was talking about.
I'm not writing a check myself for that. I don't think anybody in this room will.
And to what Mike was talking about, and we did have some back of the envelope kind of conversations, what is the net present value of a new member in either a developed or an undeveloped lot? I mean, you can start to look at those kinds of numbers. You can start to look at the number of impressions and conversions that we're gonna make, and you can funnel it down to a forecast, and that's all it is. It's a forecast of how many new members you're gonna get, and then what is each new member worth.
I hate it that we haven't already looked at that. We just keep spending money, and we don't look at anything.
Okay.
And that needs to stop.
Yeah, and I would ask that study or that work that was being done on how much revenue and that gets to the marketing committee, so that they can start working with that too. That'll
Right,
just
all we've had
that'll help
was
them out too.
informal discussions. I
Right.
don't have a study for you
Yeah,
yet,
well,
yeah.
You're
I
on
mean-
the committee,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
You know, I just, you know, I have to
There's
keep
gonna be a
my accountant's hat is always gonna be
Right.
on me. And I just wanna make sure that what we do in terms of ad commitments, that we can honor our commitment and pay our
Okay.
bills on time.
Sure. So it's an ROI analysis and it's a cash flow. Cash flow is real easy to do.
Yeah.
ROI is gonna take more time
Right.
because you're really taking, it's a multivariable
I love the web,
equation.
I mean, I think the website is
Okay.
great. There's been, like I said, with the work that Diane and you did together, you really, I mean, you put the polish on it.
Yeah,
Right.
and I, just because we know there's property owners listening to us, I wanna make sure everybody understands, nobody is saying we're bankrupt. All we're saying is,
Yeah.
we're in a particularly sensitive situation right now with COVID-19, and we have to watch our cash flow. And
Okay.
the only way we can do that is to know what we're forecasting as we move through these months, so.
I mean, for instance, our golf courses didn't put down pre-emergence this year. That was a cut that they made to not put pre-emergence down on the golf courses, because they figured, well, you know, we can hit it with a different kind of chemical. And obviously, I'm no expert in golf and agronomy here, but we can do something with a different kind of chemical later on. So everybody is making adjustments
Right.
throughout the entire family here.
Certainly, and to that end, we didn't shoot new photography
Right,
yet. And
right,
we'd love to
right.
do that with some of these other
Sure.
unspent funds. Yes, Jamie?
Well, I just wanted to point out, we intentionally did not put the slide in about the monthly projections of everything here, because if it didn't get approved, it would have to be adjusted again.
Sure.
And so we can very easily, probably in the next day or two, send that out.
We
with
just
the-
need a prioritization
Yeah, we'll get
of the
that.
commitment.
We have a very detailed spreadsheet
Mm-hmm.
of month by month, media channel by media channel expense. We have not updated it since we thought this was gonna launch at the 1st of June. And so right now, if we were to look at it, those cash flow assumptions would be wrong. And so I think what would be safest for us to do, because you just said next month.
Well, I'm July.
Right, would be to assume, because in order to do the cash flow of when is the money gonna be having to go out for that, we have to know when does it start. So we're
Well-
gonna assume the 1st of August
Yeah.
for a media plan start, and we can give you granular detail exactly when a bill for exactly what and what amount would be before you. And as a vendor, I appreciate y'all being very concerned about cash flow and.
Pam.
I think you hit on a really important point that we're not addressing, we're kind of dancing around, and that is that, you know, we talk about the rooftops, we talk about the amenities that they'll buy, but we don't talk about other potential sources of revenue for the village. And it's never been a conversation, partly because we don't have a sales group per se, somebody out selling. So things like the amenity lots, I mean, there are all kinds of other places to draw revenue, and we're ignoring those. And we just don't have a mechanism for pulling those in and addressing them and exploring them.
Right, except you're gonna hope that, well, I don't like to use the word hope, I've been criticized for that too many times. A person would think that this website would also be able to attract people to, in this surrounding 50, 75 mile radius, to having an amenity lot.
Not unless you tell them it exists.
But we don't tell them it exists at
No,
all.
that has not, yeah. We have
We've
been-
never done anything.
We have been saying new homes and home sites available.
And you know, we never go talk to the Maybellines anymore. And, I mean, I'm serious, we never go
Yeah.
talk to Remington.
Yeah.
We don't talk to some of these big companies. We haven't, I would venture to say that we've not gone to talk to Riggs, they still call it Riggs Tractor Company, but I mean, Riggs, the huge Caterpillar dealer in Little Rock. And plus Caterpillar has a larger plant in North Little Rock now than they used to have. They are doing some manufacturing there as well as machine work. They are assembling every motor grader that Caterpillar sells in that facility. We're not talking to their management
No.
staff about having amenity. They can't live over here. It's too far to commute to work. But it certainly is not too far to commute for a weekend golf outing.
Okay, now that's certainly.
One of the things that saves us on Sundays is how much business we get from car dealers. That they own amenity lots in here, and car dealerships are closed on Sundays, and the car salesmen come and play golf here. I mean, we don't have a lot of resident property owners. That's an off day for golf for them.
Okay, great input. Yes, Jane?
Well, one of the things I wanted to point out is that in the budget, you'll see that there are allocations to different amenities. And so some of those things, we can create specific ads to that particular thing and drive them out of that budget. And so if that's a high priority focus that we want to take on, it was different than what we had before, but if it's what we want to do now.
I'm not sure that we could drive them out of those budgets, because I'm looking at this right here, and okay, so you're gonna drive the Lakes marketing out of the Lakes budget when the Lakes budget has already, I mean, they got some real serious things that they gotta take care of this year in terms of.
I'm talking the Lakes allocation to marketing
Yeah,
that we
well,
have there.
that was.
It was not in their budget. This is in the actual marketing budget.
Right, so where are you gonna move it to?
No, we're not
You wouldn't
moving
move
it.
it
I'm
to-
just saying that if you want to do, if we want to do an ad campaign to sell amenity lots,
Oh,
we can
okay.
use those that are allocated to particular areas.
I see what you're
those
saying.
budgets to help fund
Well,
that
and you know,
program.
you do have a different situation here, like with the racket sports. I think that tennis, and I know pickleball, we've had to cancel our tournaments because of COVID.
Right, we were
So-
going into this year thinking we need to go into pickleball media and to
Yeah,
advertise Hot Springs Village to the pickleball players.
Yeah, but the fact that they can't travel to any tournaments this year,
And so.
that
yeah,
kind of changes the dynamics there.
Right,
And I
right.
think the same thing has happened with the tennis folks.
I think what we need to do is an amenity lot marketing plan, and we need to look at that separate from what we had looked at before, which was getting somebody in to buy a home, to buy a lot, to build here and live here.
I'm sorry, but this is, we're doing all this to sell houses, not lots?
Both. I mean, that's.
No,
if you go to
you just
the-
said, you just said we need
Well,
a
go
amenity lot
to the,
plan.
go to the print ad, and I'll show you what we're talking about.
I think houses unbuilt and existing.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we've got 11,000 lots on our books that are unproductive.
We'll never pay for this.
Well, I mean, that.
When I call that unproductive, they don't pay us a penny in assessments. And we've got two sources of revenue the way we're structured here as a nonprofit, we have two major sources, well, three major sources of revenue. We have our assessment revenue, and we have our amenities revenue, and we have our water and sewer revenue.
Okay.
That's where our money that's where our $30 million comes from.
Right.
That wouldn't, and you'll note that there's a $7 million different than what our budget says, because I've already knocked it down by $7 million, in my mind.
The overarching idea of this was to maintain and grow the population of Hot Springs Village.
Yeah.
And you maintain by reselling the inventory, and the great news is,
We don't have much inventory.
we don't, that's great.
The realtor-
So
the
that's
realtors
gonna
already
drive
do
the
that.
demand to build
The
more houses.
realtors already sell the inventory.
Right, but we help the realtors by giving them leads to keep the inventory churning.
And we'll find out how well that's been working in
Right.
in another week or so.
Right.
When we do the spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's a whole separate issue,
Yeah.
because I'm a realtor, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes over. I need to talk to Kevin about that, because the realtors believe that they bought these leads, and they're gonna be reluctant to be providing information back on leads that they bought, so be aware.
Well, they own them.
Yeah, I understand that.
So you're saying there's
They
maybe
talk
some
about
lack of
that.
transparency with getting the.
No, I'm not
the
saying
answer?
there's lack of
No.
transparency, I'm saying they bought the leads, and
They're their property.
it's their
Right.
property.
Well, yeah,
and
but they would have a problem telling us whether they sold them anything or not?
No, Because,
That's all I wanna know.
Not that.
no, the Board of Realtors is just that they're not gonna wanna be micromanaged.
No, we just wanna know whether they sold
I
it.
understand.
That's what the Excel spreadsheet is just, you
Just
know,
what
the
did we
name of the
sell? Did we
lead,
sell
and
anything?
what was the result, what did it result in?
Out of the, what is it, 1,600 leads we've provided
No,
so
we're
far?
above that now.
It's how you ask for the
Yeah,
information.
but you're going through, you gotta have a cutoff date.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I mean, you
Well,
gotta
we need to
go.
ask for it.
If I can just address that for a second, when we sat down with them, we asked them, how do you want to do this? And they told us how we would ask. We didn't tell them this is what we were expecting of you. That very initial agreement and meeting with all of them was to say, we'd like to be able to track the outcome of this. And they said, then this is how we're asking you to do that. Send us every so often, it can be quarterly or half a year, or however we want to do it. And we'll just tell you, didn't pan out, it sold, it turned into a build, that type of thing. We don't want to track them, we just want to track the outcome.
Well, I don't know what went on in the broker meetings. However, I can tell you, I'm on the Board of Realtors. That's not the understanding that many of them have. Nor do I understand that we've gone to the Board of Realtors and worked with them to make sure that they're gathering this information. You're not gathering it. They're the ones ought to be gathering this stuff.
Yeah, they have to.
So what time frame are we looking at, Kevin, for the spreadsheet?
No, it's being completed right now, it's gonna go out next week, and I can let you
So
guys
where do you
see.
think you're gonna go? You're gonna go, the program started, what?
We
January
started
30th?
in January, and so here we are halfway through the year.
So is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna go January through June, or what?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just trying to caution you that how you approach the realtor group at this point will be that these are bought leads and they're gonna consider them their property, so.
Yeah.
And they don't wanna be micromanaged. These are the things I hear that we need to, because we need the information.
Yeah, we have to.
We do, I mean, that shows to your point, Lloyd, that shows the validity of the program in itself, is,
And I would suggest to you, on a couple of levels, from a marketing standpoint, I'd be sharing with the Board of Realtors what literature you're putting out so that they can, on their websites, be mirroring what you're saying, because they're not doing it.
So we're getting the same message.
I'm sitting
Getting
on the
messages.
board, and these people, each one of them has their own website, and they're doing their own marketing.
Right.
And I don't know that we're doing much coordination on
Well,
that
we certainly.
activity.
You guys,
Okay.
I've gotta go.
I promised everybody that I would try to hold these meetings on a
Okay.
timely manner. We're at 4:30 now.
Okay.
This was
Yeah,
great
well,
stuff.
thank you.
We needed to talk about this. I'd like to see, and I think the board would like to see, let's go ahead and launch, if the website's way to go, let's
yeah.
Thank you.
power up the website.
Thank you. Okay.
And then we can maybe start gleaning some information a little bit from this, and let's
And then if we
get
can get
these
the cash
numbers.
flow.
And we're not gonna have a discussion session next week because we're taking the week off for the holiday.
Well, we have work to do here.
And you've got work to do here, and maybe you'll be ready to come back to us at the second Wednesday. And we
Cash
can,
flow,
No, so
ROI.
no Wednesdays in July.
no, we're gonna go the
Well,
second
we're gonna
Wednesday.
have
July.
We lied.
The
So,
8th.
Come on.
We're going July 8th. We're going July 8th.
Diana, the three things I'm hearing are cash flow, that's really easy. ROI based on value of a developed and an undeveloped lot, an amenity. And then third is marketing recommendations for amenity lots.
Yeah, I mean,
which
you know,
we really haven't addressed.
You put this together when you did the budget, COVID has hit.
Yeah,
Obviously, you maybe need to
sure.
update it as to how that has impacted what you need to spend for the
Absolutely.
last half of the year.
And I would suggest that rooftops are what we want ultimately, but as Diana said, we have over 11,000 lots that we need to figure out how to get them sold or them utilized. And so that needs to be part of the thinking process too.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Excellent.
amenity lots, we've got 3,500 or 3,400.
On our books.
On the
Yeah,
POA.
well, that's all that we can use as an amenity lot. The rest of them are owned by the land.
They're
By the
still
state.
available there's still a lot of them that are available
Yeah.
for sale. Go talk to
Well,
some of the people that are owning
we
a
can
bunch of these
We can
lots.
sell the amenities for 3,400 though, right?
That's great.
There
Well,
are
if you-
thousands of lots that can be sold for amenity lots if
Well,
if
that
were
would,
the
that would
case.
bring in $1.5 million per year if you could sell them on his website. He said he can't sell the land on the website, but he could sell the amenities.
No,
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 this is-
no, no.
We don't really.
This whole lot thing is a big deal because we've been told 1,500 lots in the POA inventory that are on lakes and golf courses. Again, the
Of
real
them.
estate community doesn't know about them.
Right.
And
Of the
that's who's gonna
3,500.
sell them. We're not involving the real estate community in these decisions. And it's a mistake, people.
All right,
So,
Nice job, good job.
Thank
great
you.
job,
Really
great
good.
job, thank you very much. Next
Okay.
steps, we're gonna launch it.
No, I'm gonna ask y'all that, he's been through that, but I just think it's worth pointing out the last bullet point on this slide. COVID-19 is creating
A market.
A
a
market.
market that is exploding with, Hot Springs Village isn't doing anything different from a marketing standpoint. You're not spending any money right now, and yet the number of sessions on your website is up 83% year over year.
Right.
And
So-
just think, when we get your new improved website, what it's gonna do.
I hope.
Damn.
The
And-
iron is hot.
And I think, you know, we're gonna be able to act rather quickly on releasing some releasing some funds to pay for some advertising, but we gotta see the picture.
Understand totally.
Okay.
okay. Thank you all. Jamie, anything else? I think we are done. It is 4:37.
Goodbye, all.
Don't let the advertising.
Thank you all.
Yeah. All right,
Thank you all
you.
very much.